What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. Dan Kasper Show on the air, radio dials, couple of those, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, worldwide, sportstalk1051.com, Sports Talk app, Google and Alexa devices. Video stream also up and rolling on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel up there. How y'all doing on this Thursday? Appreciate you making us a part of your start for this morning of May 4th. What do we got on the good old game plan here this morning? We're going to hit up a little playoff hoops chat. If you're still paying attention to that. Celtics bouncing back and getting a win. Stanley Cup playoffs. Continuing last night, you had Vegas defeating Edmonton 6-4. Back-to-back nights where an individual player putting up 4 goals, both in losing efforts too. Carolina getting a 5-1 victory over New Jersey. We're going to throw in maybe a little football talk here. Cool story. I don't know if anybody saw this yesterday, but if you're into like sports documentaries or even just like 30 for 30 for ESPN, it was announced yesterday that ESPN is going to do a 30 for 30 on Reggie White, the Minister of Defense. So, 1, I'm a big documentary buff, love documentaries. 2, obviously I'm big into sports. 3, love the Packers. 4, love Reggie White. So, I am really, really looking forward to this when it drops. It's going to be a little bit here yet, but was announced yesterday that Reggie White, Minister of Defense, documentary, The Defense, ESPN 430. So I want to ask you, is there a sports figure that you'd like to see maybe like a 30 for 30 or another like documentary kind of made on, or maybe remade? Maybe there was one from a while ago, but things have changed or other stuff has happened, maybe kind of revisit it and edit it and such. But is there anybody else out there or anybody that you'd like to kind of maybe see somebody make? Like Reggie was probably, for me, I mean, I don't know of a person who didn't like Reggie White, but Reggie was probably like my first favorite or one of my first favorite athletes. I mean, crying out loud, my Boy Scouts Pinewood Derby car was a Reggie White car. Still have it. My first jersey was a Shaq, but player tee, I guess, is what we would call him now. But I had a Reggie White one from good old Kmart in Medford. I think I was in elementary school. So like Reggie was like my first. Man, I remember going to a card shop in the mall at Marshfield back in the day, and it was like a sports store, but it had cards and pennants and all that sort of stuff. But I remember buying a Reggie White card, and I can picture it too. And I think I know I still have it, but it's a Reggie White card. It was in practice because he's wearing like sweatpants and such. I can picture it to this day. But like Reggie was one of my very first favorite athletes, and I know we've asked this question before in the past, like who is a player or a sports figure that you wish you could have seen play in person in that? And Reggie was on my list. Like I wish I could have gone to Lambeau Field during a game that Reggie was playing, and just to experience, not only just to watch Reggie play, but to experience the Reggie chants in Lambeau Field. I think would have been one of the coolest things ever. And I mean, even like a few years ago, if anybody's been to Lambeau, they do like these, pre-player intro videos, to like a hype video. And a while ago, they had this one where there was like, voice recordings or clips of players or coaches, and they had one with Reggie, and every time that one came up in Lambeau Field, where Reggie was talking, I don't even know what fully he said, because as soon as his picture popped up and his voice played over the speakers, the crowd just got so loud and still cheered for him. This was how many years ago? Maybe 5, 6, 7, something around there. But I don't know of anybody who didn't like Reggie White, for crying out loud. So I can't wait to check this out. I don't know an exact date. I was looking at the press release here again, but I can't wait for this to come out here. And I feel like too, I'm a big history buff on that, and these youngsters out there, like Hudson knows Reggie White, but he doesn't know Reggie White, right? I mean, he's seen the cards and all that, and he knows Reggie was 92 and that, but I don't know just how flipping dominant number 92 for the Packers was, or for the Eagles and such. I mean, his move, the shoulder shimmy move, oh my goodness, just tossing people around. You still see clips of it all around social media. So, but with all that being said, maybe we'll kind of revisit the whole, if there was an athlete that you never got to witness, or I should say play in person, who would that be? Or maybe it was a coach that you'd like to go to a game and just kind of see them roaming the sidelines or the dugout or something like that. Like Reggie was for me, Tiger's for me. I've never seen Tiger in person. I've had a couple opportunities, but flaked out and such. But Jordan would be another one for me. And then on the flip side, if there was another sports documentary that you would like to see done, or maybe remade or revisited, what would that be? Let's have a little fun with those two topics there, okay? But we're going to begin things off here momentarily on the leadoff, talking some Brewers, because, well, the Brewers lost again last night to the Colorado Rockies 7-1. It was the fourth inning with some errors and unearned runs and such, but nonetheless, it was a hole that the Brewers couldn't get out of. And again, the Brewers struggling with left-handed pitching. And it's becoming a consistent theme for this Brewers team. Struggling against lefties, which, when you look at it on paper with the lineup that the Brewers have, it's kind of a head scratcher. Like, you look at their lineup that they'll put out there sometimes, and on paper, it's like, okay, it's, righty heavy, should be able to attack the left pitchers and such, and they haven't been able to do it. Counsel saying after the game, we don't have a good answer. It's rare to have reverse splits, so I wouldn't say we have a good answer for it. When you look at it this year, this was an interesting nugget from Adam McCalvy after the game last night, that the Brewers are 5-4 this season in games started by opposing left-handers, but only one of those 9 starting pitchers, Reed Detmers from the Angels, left the game with his team in a deficit. So, think about that for a little bit. Overall, Milwaukee ranks, and here's some other numbers here. Milwaukee ranks next to last in majors with a 6.23 OPS against left-handed pitching, just a skosh above the 20s. And the Brewers are also next to last with a 333 slugging percentage, better only than the Yankees. And if you go back to last year, the Brewers were 27-25 in games started by left-handed pitchers, ranked 23rd with a 674 OPS against lefties. So what is it? What's going on with the Brewers and going up against left-handed pitching? Kind of weird. We're going to go through some numbers and statistics here to kind of show what how weird this is. But the Brewers well, first of all, Brewers have dropped 3 of their last 4 series now, so they're going to throw out their own lefty this afternoon, Wade Miley, to try to avoid the sweep. at the hands of the Colorado Rockies. Day game today, afternoon game, 2:10 first pitch. So Wade Miley going to be looking for his 4th win of the season and, importantly, trying to avoid this sweep. Oh, we'll recap the game last night. Take a look at what the issue is with this left-handed pitching, or going up against left-handed pitching, I should say, and then previewing this afternoon's game. You got, as we mentioned, Wade Miley on the mound for the Crew, Seabold going up on the mound for the Rockies. He's a righty, so I guess the Brewers at one point you could say are avoiding a lefty at there, but not a ton of experience going up against Connor Seabold's. Really, you look at the matchups here, offense and pitching. Brewers don't have any. Plenty of experience though with the Rockies going up against Wade Miley, and some dudes have had some pretty darn good success against Wade Miley. Charlie Blackmon's 333 and 21 at bats. Chris Bryant is 450 and 20 at bats, including a couple of dingers. You've got Diaz, who's 429 and 14 at bats. Moustakas, 13 at bats, 308. So, I mean, the Rockies have a lineup that have had success against Wade Miley throughout their career. What's going to win out? Wade Miley's terrific start to this season, or the Rockies' certain players lineup that have had career success against Wade Miley, which one will win out? So, well, that's where we're going to lead things off here. Plus, we got a little receiver defer. We'll catch up with Jake for our outdoor tidbits at 8:30. It is the opener fishing coming up, so good time to maybe review and hit up on some of the refreshers for that. So we'll catch up with Jake at 8:30. Thirsty Thursday shout-outs. You want to give a shout-out to anybody out there, hit us up with some texts at 715-830-1912. Twitter at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports, or you can comment on the video stream if you would like. So let's get things rolling. Lead off, we'll talk a little baseball. Brewers dropping another series. They will try to avoid the sweep today. What is going on with this Brewers offense against left-handed pitchers? Little unsolved mysteries coming up next.
For skilled trade workers, electricians, welders, mechanics, these and other trades are the backbone of every community. They're also a huge part in making sure the Army National Guard is always fulfilling its mission of service to our country and communities. Soldiers train to keep the power flowing, engines running, and supplies moving. The skilled trades these soldiers perform are the same ones needed in today's civilian workforce. Army National Guard soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. With options from plumber to helicopter mechanic and everything in between, soldiers are able to select the trades that best fit their lives. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession and serve your community and country by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
College students or parents of college students, I'm talking to you right now, so listen closely. Spring semester is going to be over. Moving day is coming up. We can all tell when it's moving time because of all the furniture that's on the curb. Some of that furniture might be picked up by other students to help furnish their new place they're moving into. But I've got a suggestion to do something different this year, something that helps your own community. Instead of putting that couch or desk on the curb and waiting for someone to grab it, donate it to the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore. Your donation will help stock the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore, where sales then go to help fund home builds for families in need in our area. And hey, you that planned on scouring the curbs for that desk to add to your room, stop on over at the Restore and see what they all have in stock. You might even find a couch that would be perfect for your living room. Students, parents of students, help your community out this year. Donate your furniture to the Restore and do some shopping while you're there. Plus, they're not that far from campus. Visit the Restore at 145 North Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire.
Looking for a new job, or maybe just tired of boring job fairs when you look? Well, come on out to Careers and Beers at the Brewing Project today from 4 to 6 p.m. This is free to the public, and it's hosted by the station's Midwest family, Eau Claire. And we'll even buy your first beer while you talk to some of the area's best local employers, all looking to hire you. All this in a low-key atmosphere where everyone's relaxed, looking to have a good conversation and a good time talking about your goals. Stop by today, downtown Eau Claire. It's Careers and Beers, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Brewing Project, downtown Eau Claire.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at shoedoctorfootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
Because you have high standards and won't settle for anything less, like your wife did. It's the Dan Kasper Show.
Summer projects are coming up. What's on your to-do list for this year? Maybe on your to-do list is to update that floor. Maybe a new carpet in the bedroom, replacing your kitchen floor with some luxury vinyl planks or some nice tile in the bathroom. We're replacing a little bit of the floor in the man cave this year. Chances are you also have a room in your house that could use a good floor update. So why not make it easier on yourself with this project and visit our friends from Carpet City Flooring Center here in Eau Claire. Their customer service is top-notch from when you walk into the store into the install team. Add in the best selection and prices, and you've got yourself a home run. So take a look at that to-do list this year and move up replacing that floor in your home. Then head on over to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire and chat with the awesome team there to find that perfect floor for your home and for your budget. All right, let's get things rolling here this morning. Talking little baseball to open up things. Brewers falling again last night to the Colorado Rockies, 7-1. Been talking about their issues with their left-handed pitching. So if we're trying to solve a mystery here, get your trench coats on, get your Robert Stack impressions, and a little Unsolved Mysteries theme song in the background. Brewers, what is the issue with left-handed pitching? Going up against left-handed pitching right now. Brew Crew so far this year, 5-4 against opposing left-handers. They've got near bottom statistics against left-handed pitching. Next to last in the majors with a 6.3 OPS, only just ahead of the Minnesota Twins. They're also next to last with a 3.33 slugging percentage, better only than the slumping Yankees. And this isn't an issue from this year. This is an issue that goes back to last year as well, where the Brewers are 27-25 in games started by left-handed pitchers. And even to make things more weird is the reverse splits. For example, Willie Adames has an 527 OPS against left-handers this season compared to an 810 against right-handers. Anderson's also a 588 against lefties, 809 against righties, and he wasn't in the lineup last night. But this is kind of just an example of some of the weird reverse splits to which Counsell said We don't have a good answer. It's rare to have reverse splits, so I wouldn't say we have a good answer for it. What is going on in terms of Brewers left-handed pitcher?
I don't know, but the council can't figure it out. He's the wrong man to have in the position. But I mean, you think the manager and the hitting coaches or somebody would be able to figure some things out. But I was down at the games on Saturday and Sunday, and Sunday was just wow. That was nap time? They had nothing going on. I think they had 5 guys on base, and one guy, Weimer, ran himself out. But they're not. They're not the energy doesn't seem to be the same now as it did at the beginning of the season on the team for whatever reason. It just didn't seem to be the same. But I'm not going to panic right now. They're still above 500. Thank goodness you face more right-handers than you do left-handers during the course of a season. But I'm sure teams are looking at those statistics. And, at this point in time, if I was an opposing manager, I'd be rolling out my left-handers.
Yeah, Yelich, he's got a theory. His theory is the platooning. Platooning has become much more prevalent in Major League Baseball, and he believes that pitchers are better than ever at game planning against opposite-handed hitters because they know opposing lineups will be stacked with them. He said after the game, there's obviously some days when you're going to get got by somebody, but it's kind of consistently turned into a problem, and it's something we have to find a way to do better at for sure. Now, part of your job as a major league player is to come up with a way to win. You have to win games against lefty pitchers. We've done it at times, but we haven't been as consistent as we would have liked in the past. And through the first month of the season, it's been a little bit of a problem, but hopefully we can right the ship. Is part of it kind of what he's referring to, the platooning? I mean, is the whole righty versus lefty, lefty versus righty, all that sort of stuff kind of overplayed now? Not like what it used to be back in the day?
I think so, but I think part of it is the fact that right now you don't have these guys that are, Adames is, kind of an enigma there, but you don't have a roster of guys that they can hit anybody. You don't have those kind of guys on that roster. So as a manager, you kind of have to platoon.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the better teams, you got San Diego's roster or Los Angeles roster. These are the guys that are going to play. I don't care if it's a right-hander or a left-hander. And the Brewers don't have those kind of guys. They don't have that kind of money to pay those kind of guys is the bottom line. So I think council has to go into platooning. And it seems to me, and I don't know what you think, but when you watch these left-handed pitchers, it seems like their motions are goofier and their pitches move more than right-handers, as a general statement. It just seems like it is that way to me. Is it to you at all?
Maybe.
They're a little more, I think of some of these guys that are a little more herky-jerky and things like that on the left side.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going through some of these other numbers here because I'm trying to find other comparisons. And, like for Voit, who was brought in for, backup obviously to Tellez, but also for going up against left-handed pitching since Tellez is a left-handed hitter. I mean, you're going to be out of a job if this continues. Voit 1 for 26 with 15 strikeouts against left-handers this season.
Yeah, I watched him this weekend. He doesn't have a home run yet.
Yeah, and compared to 896 OPS against righties.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got right-handed batters hitting better against righties when the old narrative was it's supposed to be the opposite.
Yeah, and I watched him this weekend, and he played this weekend, and I mean, he stood there and took some third strikes right at the belt. I don't know what if he was completely fooled or what, but when they put his stats up on the scoreboard, and I saw no home runs, I said, "Hey, we're into May. You got to be hitting home runs, buddy," because he runs around like he's Tarzan. He has no undershirt on, and his uniform is unbuttoned about halfway down to his belly, so he's trying to show off big muscles.
It's like slow pitch softball, beer league right there, man.
That's right. But, man, you don't have any home runs. You got to hit some home runs, partner, or you're going to be, selling beer in section 111.
It's kind of, you look at this series in Colorado, too. I mean, you'd think ball flying out of there, Brewers would be able to put up some runs, and they haven't in these last two games here.
And that's what somebody said to me. They said, hey, they're in Colorado and they're not scoring runs. So, there's still a problem with the offense. And of course, we talked about that last year. We talked about it early on before when spring training was coming on. Do we have guys that can hit home runs? Rowdy Tellez can. Now, if you look at, and Rowdy's going to play more because there are more right-handed pitchers. But if you look at a left-handed pitcher coming in and you got Luke Voigt, he's pretty darn good with a glove, but he's got to produce more offensively if he's going to get a chance to go in the lineup. Otherwise, leave Rowdy in there against left-handers, because Rowdy is not all that bad against left-handed hitters. It's just this platoon mentality. It's, looking at the statistics. Well, Council, if you're looking at statistics, Voigt right now doesn't deserve to be in there against left-handers.
I'm actually looking at Rowdy right now, his splits against left versus right. He's got a higher batting average against lefties right now.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah. Rowdy Tellez, I don't know why you're platooning Rowdy Tellez. Give him a day off once in a while against a left-handed pitcher, that's fine. But if you got some left-handed pitchers going, Rowdy Tellez is going to be in the lineup for me, not Luke Voigt.
Yeah, he's hitting 278 against lefties. Now his on base and his slugging, his OPS are higher against righties at this point too. But I mean, at what point? I mean, if you're struggling at there, maybe I'm naive in this, and I get it. There's a little strategery, towards it, but sometimes I just feel like just play your best players.
Oh yeah. You throw strategy out the window when you look at Voigt's numbers, you look at Tellez's numbers, and you say, well, I'm going to play Voigt today, and then you look at Rowdy and say, why are you playing Voigt? You just have to. I mean, the strategy isn't that complicated when you look at the numbers, and it shows on the field that Voigt is not producing offensively.
No, and then I'm just bringing up some more of these split statistics. So Willie Adames, when you're looking at Willie Adames against lefties this year, 138. Huh. Yeah.
And watching those guys over the weekend, they got back to some of their old. And now the Saturday night game, they hit the ball pretty well. But when they didn't hit the ball well, when they were making outs, they were striking out on some pretty ugly pitches. Sunday, they just didn't come to play at all. But it was something to see. And I'll tell you, you watch, and I wanted to see Mike. I'd never seen Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in person. You talk about professional hitters. Those guys are in there. They're so confident. And man, oh man, especially Ohtani. I mean, as great as Trout is, Ohtani is just such a hitter. It's unbelievable. He just, very seldom, everybody will get fooled in the batter's box once in a while. But boy, it takes a major effort to get him out without him hitting the ball hard. Mm-hmm. And of course, Saturday night, Trout just about took the cover off the ball about 4 times. But those two guys are, wow, they're out of this world.
Right now, the only player that I'm kind of following that has a better average against like William Contreras right now is hitting 320 against lefties. Here's an interesting one too, Christian Yelich. So Christian bats left, right?
Mm-hmm.
His batting average is higher against lefties, 241. But again, kind of like, the Tellez isn't at his on base, and his slugging and his OPS are a little bit higher going up against righties. It is some weird reverse splits with this ball club so far. And I get, sample size is small, but the fact that you enter what they did last year against lefties, it's a common trend right now for this ball club. I'd be curious to see. Well, I mean, we know some of the statistics already because they're like almost second to last in a lot of them, but some of these individual players for other teams too, just to kind of compare a lot of them. Is there a trend where it's not lefty versus righty, righty versus lefty, and all that sort of stuff? I know the whole Moneyball thing was that they didn't care about that either. They didn't care about lefty pitching matchups and that, but I don't know.
And I think to a certain extent, that's the way to do it. I mean, there are professional hitters that can hit anybody, whether you're left or right or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, because you're not sitting Mike Trout out against those type of players.
Or Ohtani's not sitting down against a lefty. But again, Council doesn't have the luxury of having. I mean, he should have with Yelich, but he doesn't have that anymore. He doesn't have a Mike Trout. He doesn't have a Shohei Ohtani. Those, and they've got a kid that's I I just saw him in 2 games, but a kid they brought up to play shortstop, they brought him up about 2 or 3 weeks ago, this Neto, and he's really a good leadoff hitter. Their top 3 hitters right now are pretty darn good, pretty solid. And while they'll do the rest of the year, I don't know. But the Brewers don't have that luxury right now. Yelich, I'm so far disappointed. As you know, I predicted Yelich would have a lot better year this year going without that shift on, going to maybe 270, 275 for a batting average, hitting 25 to 30 home runs. But, boy, that's a reach right now.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you mentioned Ohtani. Did you see what he did last night?
No.
Well, just see, etched his name a little bit more in history. He joined Babe Ruth as the only players. When it's just you and Babe Ruth, it's pretty darn good. In AL/NL history with 500 strikeouts as a pitcher and 100 homers as a hitter last night. 13 strikeouts, also 3 hits too, adding 3 hits.
He's amazing. He is, they talk about Trout, and I'd love to have Trout on my team, but give me Ohtani.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, it was like, I really hope Ohtani, and I know I mentioned this before, kind of like opens a door for the possibility of more players like him, a pitcher, but also with hitter, because, you get to that point where for the longest time, these pitchers just had to focus on pitching. Because a lot of times the pitchers are probably the best hitters on their high school team too, right?
Oh, you bet.
Something like that. But then they got to get so hyper-focused, and then they don't focus on hitting anymore. I hope Ohtani can kind of change that narrative, and we see more players like that come through.
Yeah, the problem is everybody wants to change him.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohtani says, no, I'm a pitcher and I can hit. And so, God love the Angels for letting him do both.
Yeah.
Because he's proven he can do both very, very well. He's in the upper few percent as far as top pitchers as well as top hitters. And boy, they don't come along, twice in a lifetime.
Right.
Babe Ruth and Shohei Ohtani.
Right, exactly. So maybe with universal DH that can help open the door for us. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know of another one that's kind of like in the wings of like minor leagues or Japan or anything like that.
No, I haven't heard of anybody else that is on the horizon for that kind of a performance.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable.
You just look at him. When first day we were there, we had seats on the third base side down American Family Field where the visitors' dugout is. And when he came out, we were pretty close. And he has the body. Mike Trout is kind of a short, stocky, looks like a running back type of thing, and Ohtani is willowy muscles, and he's just, he's a baseball player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's going to get paid big
time.
Oh,
I can't imagine how much he's going to get. He, to me, after watching him for the last couple of years, and the first time I ever had a chance to see him live, and he does everything so easy. He was a DH both days, so I didn't see him in the field or do anything like that. But my goodness, he's special.
And I feel like he's gotten better every year too since he's gotten in here.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It just seems like he's just getting better, more comfortable.Maybe too is the better way to put it too. But I know there was like odds on that he's going to get traded by the trade deadline this year. A lot will depend on what the Angels do. At that
what
point.
Can you get? What can you get back? The Angels, they paid Trout a boatload of money. They can pay Ohtani a boatload of money. What can they get back? They'll never, ever, ever replace Ohtani with players or with money. So I don't know. But you get $500 million.
Yeah. He's going to be easily the highest paid player in baseball.
Oh, and deservedly so. He's the best player in baseball in my mind right now.
The question, Judge got 9 years, 360. So my question would be, so he's 28. Ohtani's 28. There's going to be a couple teams that will offer this, but do you do a 10-year deal knowing that how much can you trust that arm to last that long? Yeah, you got the Verlanders and the Scherzers.
If his arm goes to pot, he's still the best hitter on your team, or one of the best hitters in the league, one of the best hitters in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, he's got rotator cuff. Well, hopefully it's not that. would put him out for hitting too, but sore elbow or something like that.
The thing
Oh,
is, like,
shoot, he
even
can
if he has
still
Tommy
hit.
John,
Yeah.
or something like that, like Bryce Harper just came back and he was out, I think, 100 some days or something like that. But the thing is, with if he has that injury there where, yeah, he can't throw a ball, but he can still hit the ball, you still play him then, don't you? You can
Oh
still
yeah,
play
that's what I
him.
say. That's another reason that these clubs are going to feel that they can offer him an outlandish amount of money because he's and starting pitchers aren't getting that kind of money anymore. Although some have gotten pretty good contracts, but this guy, the sky's the limit dollar wise. I think.
Mm-hmm. I'll be really curious to see where he goes, if he even goes anywhere. I think you and I have talked about many times. I feel like he's still going to be a West Coast player, Dodgers,
I do
Angels,
too.
Giants, whatever it may be at that point.
And I think the Giants made a big pitch for Aaron Judge over the offseason last year.
Then they tried to get Correa
because he's from that area. I think they might make a all-out effort. They bring back Barry Bonds was there hitting balls into the cove.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shohei Ohtani might be the next guy they bring in if he doesn't stay with the Angels. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to follow, but he is a singular talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's still kind of mind-boggling to me too. Like him and Trout on the same team, and yet they haven't been to the postseason. And that I know they got other issues in that, but still.
I was watching on the scoreboard down at the American Family Field, and you look at the production of the other players on that team, and it's not very good.
Mm-mm.
They got Hunter Renfroe from the Brewers, who played right field for him now. And Hunter Renfroe had a really good year for the Brewers last year. I don't know how many home runs he had, but I think he had over 30 home runs, didn't he?
He's one of their more consistent, solid hitters. Yeah.
Yeah. And I figured, boy, Hunter Renfroe going to that roster, but he hasn't really produced this year. Whether he will yet or not, I don't know. But they don't have a lot of production, a lot of guys.
And they gave a lot of money to Rendon, and he hasn't really played up to that either.
He had a couple errors at third base and ended the game. He had a long fly ball. Everybody held their breath on Saturday night to tie the game, but they caught the ball in the warning track. But there's not a lot of other production on that Angels team to go with two of the best players in baseball.
Yeah. I'm just kind of looking at their lineup right here, but man, what a stud. And I think a perfect ambassador. I mean, can Major League Baseball ask for a better like star focal player? Because internationally wise, I mean, it's Ohtani's perfect.
Yeah, he's
perfect.
Yeah, and he comes up to the batter's box and he bows to the umpire before he steps in the batter's box.
Mm-hmm.
And just a subtle bow, but you could see what he's doing. And respect for the game. And I don't know how well he knows our language. If he can, I haven't heard him do any interviews. I don't know if he can or not, if he's just learning the language or where he's at. But he just puts his head down. He does his job, and he does his job better than anybody else.
How about this? Buster Olney from ESPN just tweeted this out. If you want to, this is kind of who would have thought we'd be saying this on May 4th. I know it's still early. Two teams have compiled double-digit deficits in their respective divisions. The Oakland A's, which probably is no big surprise. Everybody figured they would be pretty bad. The other, the St. Louis Cardinals, 10-21 now, 10 games behind the Pittsburgh Pirates. That whole sentence right there, who would have thought we would have said on May 4th, the Cardinals are 10 games behind the first place Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm still getting used to kind of saying that. And it'll change and maybe possibly, never say never, but it is early, but still, 10-21 with the Cardinals right now.
Can you say Yadier Molina?
Right, yeah.
I mean, he was the leader of that team in more ways than one.
Well,
they don't have him, but you look at, some of the other guys that they've got. Most valuable player in the league last year, you'd never expect that the Cardinals would be starting this way.
Well, yeah, and we were just talking about with the Angels and their offense. Look at the Cardinals. I mean, they've got, Paul Goldschmidt and such, but yet still 10 wins with those guys. I know a lot of it's with pitching and that sort of thing over there. Well, those two teams actually did play last night, Angels and Cardinals, and Angels got the victory. But yeah, Arenado hitting only 244. Goldschmidt's still doing his thing at 296 right now at this point, but still. Never say never with the Cardinals, but this is a big deficit.
Oh, yeah, they got the hole to climb out of.
Mm-hmm. I'm not complaining.
No, because you can't count the Cardinals out because they've just got such a solid organization off the field as well as on the field. But the Cardinals won't stand for this kind of performance for very long before they make a move somewhere.
Well,
Whether
I mean,
it's
for crying out,
replacing the manager or finding new players.
I was going to say, how many times have they replaced their man? I think didn't they replace their manager after he won Manager of the Year just a couple years ago or something like
Matheny.
that? Yeah, and then there was who was the other guy that replaced Matheny? And I mean, so yeah, they're not afraid to move on.
They expect and demand excellence.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that has actually been helping the Brewers right now in the standings, only being 1.5 back from the Pirates, is that the Pirates have had to play the Tampa Bay Rays right now, and it's the May World Series with Tampa Bay and the Pirates going at it right now. So,
and as Tampa Bay, as good as I don't know what the record is now, but they're, I don't know, one of the first teams to have 20 wins by
25-6 right now.
They're averaging less than 10,000 people at their games. That's a shame down there, but that, they're playing in a stadium that is not very good, and why people in that part of the country don't turn out for baseball, the weather obviously is something, but playing in that dome down there, they actually ain't Petersburg, but it's scratch your head. I don't know how they can keep coming up with all these great teams. They trade guys away, and all of a sudden they're still in the Miami Marlins can come up with players like nobody's business.
Baseball payrolls right now. You want to take a guess at where Tampa Bay's at?
Probably about 25th.
20. Really? 28 out of 30.
Yep. And they just putting teams on the field.
And you want to know who number 10 is? It's the team that's right behind him in the standings, Baltimore.
Yeah. Baltimore's having a good year too.
Mm-hmm. The worst or the lowest one is, it's reflected on their record, is Oakland.
Yeah.
The Oakland Athletics. But it's a huge.
And that's going to change when they move to Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you can bet there's going to be some money around there then.
Well, you look at Tampa Bay their run differential this year is it's 113 plus 113 run differential. The next closest team is, I'm just double checking if it's still them. Texas at plus 69.
Yeah, it's unreal how they can do this. And if I'm a young pitcher pitching for Tampa, I'm thinking, wow, I gave up 5 runs and I still won by 3 or 4. My next contract with somebody else is going to be huge because they got a winning record, and I know they got all of the stats to look at, but you gotta feel good if you're a pitcher for Tampa Bay going out there knowing this club's not getting shut out.
It's going to be after this series with Pittsburgh. I mean, based off record wise too, you look at the month of May. I'm looking at Tampa Bay's schedule here. So they've already won the series against Pittsburgh. They're going to go for the sweep later today. But Pittsburgh, first place team. And they're slumping right now, but you never know. Right after this, they've got a 3-game series against the Yankees, 3-game series against Baltimore, at Baltimore, 4-game series against the Yankees, 3-game series against the Mets all on the road. Then they play the Brewers, and then they finish off the month against 4 games against Toronto and 3 games against the Dodgers. Like on paper, at the beginning of the season, that would have been like, oh, that's a tough May. Those are going to be fun games, but I mean, they're probably getting them at the right time with those teams too here, with the way they're playing at this point.
Yeah, they can put runs on the board, and it's they're having fun right now, and they're playing without thinking about can we hit, can we score. Unlike the Brewers, who can I put in the lineup that can hit or can get on base or can help us one way or the other. So I don't know how I see Taylor's back for the Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
That'll help, but some of these other guys just have to get better, have to step it up. They was, Brasso, where is he? And Anderson and those guys kind of tailed off after the start of the season.
I think I'm curious to see how many other teams are going to try to, I don't know why they haven't already, but try to emulate the Rays like they tried to with Oakland with the whole Moneyball situation in the early 2000s. Some teams trying that, but I don't know. Or you got the bigger market teams that won't do that.
No, but Tampa Bay, you got to give them credit. They can put a fun team to watch on.
I'd be okay if they won a
playing-
World Series if it wasn't the Brewers.
Absolutely.
No.
But you put Tampa Bay, this team in Chicago, in Wrigley Field, this team was the Cubs. I mean, you couldn't find a seat forever. But down there in Tampa, St. Petersburg, you can buy a whole section and have nobody with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable.
Yep. All right, we got to take a quick break here. And then coming up next, Bob got to see a couple of them, so this actually works out well here. But one of our fun kind of questions of the day is if there was a sports player, athlete figure that you wish you could still see in person, who would that be? Text those on over 715-830-1912. The reason we're asking this, in case you missed in the first hour, I'll tell you that reason coming up in just a couple minutes.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
What's something you can't get for $18.99? Enough soil for your new garden. What's something you can get for $18.99? A month of unlimited car washes at Clean and Classy. Something you can't do in 5 minutes? Plant your new garden. Something you can do in 5 minutes? Get rid of springtime grime at Clean and Classy on West Claremont and off Hastings on Brackett Avenue. Wash your car more than once a month? A monthly pass is going to save you money. Make your car clean and classy.
How many of you listening right now are gearing up to be summer weekend warriors? Maybe getting ready for those golf leagues coming up or all those softball and volleyball tournaments. But what about that pain that you have been experiencing and you've been holding off and getting it checked out? Well, sounds like you need to make that appointment with Chippewa Valley Orthopedic Medicine. Just visit cvosm.com now to schedule your appointment and start living that pain-free, better life today and dominate those weekends this summer.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
Talking with Dr. Logan Shepke, and if you're listening right now and you suffer from headaches, well, a trip to the chiropractor might actually help alleviate that, right, Logan?
That's absolutely right. So with those headaches, dizziness, headaches, whatever you've got going on, that just pressure in your head, we get great results with that.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the cervical spine, going into the head there and just working through the muscles and the joints to get you back functioning without that constant nagging headache.
And vertigo too, as you kind of mentioned too, that'll help alleviate that.
Yeah, if you got any of that dizziness, you wake up in the morning, you sit up and it's just not quite right. Something's off. The room maybe spins a little bit, or you just feel off as you move through your day. You got that fogginess.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great option for you.
If you are experiencing headaches and dizziness, it's time to make your appointment with Shepke Chiropractic. Visit ShepkeChiropractic.com or give them a call at 715-895-8436 to set up your appointment today. Your journey to a healthier, more fulfilling life starts at Shepke Chiropractic.
If you have a high deductible health plan, opening a health savings account at Dairy State Bank will allow you to save tax-free dollars to pay for a long list of health-related services allowed by the IRS. Dairy State Bank HSAs are serviced locally and work like a regular checking account. You can use a debit card or check to pay for expenses and access your account through online or mobile banking. Visit DairyStateBank.com to learn more about HSAs and online or mobile banking. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Today's job market is full of demand for skilled trade workers. Electricians, welders, mechanics, these and other trades are the backbone of every community. They're also a huge part in making sure the Army National Guard is always fulfilling its mission of service to our country and communities. Soldiers train to keep the power flowing, engines running, and supplies moving. The skilled trades these soldiers perform are the same ones needed in today's civilian workforce. Army National Guard soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. With options from plumber to helicopter mechanic and everything in between, soldiers are able to select the trades that best fit their lives. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession and serve your community and country by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
He may not be the smartest sports talk host, but darn it, he gives 110% every time. Now here's your host, Dan Kasper.
All right, we've just got a few minutes to the top of the hour. Quick reminder that tonight's Careers and Beers, if you got nothing else going on tonight, Brewing Project. You want to head on down over there, maybe find yourself, if you're looking for a job or something like that. It's 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's round 6. It's a job fair and a happy hour brought to you by Midwest Family Eau Claire. Sick of the stuffy, uncomfortable job fairs? Careers and Beers is the answer, featuring local employers in a casual atmosphere, free to attend, and you'll even get a free brew on the house. So we got a couple of the reason I'm asking this is because I don't know if you saw this announcement yesterday, intern, and we'll get into this a little bit more in the next hour, but ESPN's 30 for 30 announced they're doing a film on Reggie White, the Minister of Defense.
Oh,
so they're going to have a
I didn't see that.
documentary on, and I was reading a little bit. Sounds like his son is kind of behind this. Kind of like, because Reggie passed away at a very young age.
Yeah, was he 40?
43, 42,
Yeah,
43.
like that.
I still remember I was driving in my car and I heard it on the radio, ESPN radio. I think I was driving to good old Easy Stop, my work in Medford, when I heard that on the radio. It was like, was it right after Christmas, day after Christmas, or somewhere around there? But yeah, it's like, and he's one player I wish I never got to see in person. I never got to see play in person, and I wish I could have just experienced not only seeing him play in person, but the Reggie chance in Lambeau Field. Like that to me would have been just like awesome.
That's probably the best, obviously the best free agent signing ever, and I think they signed him at that time to a big contract, about $17 million. I think they signed him for. But I mean, that arm bar that he had, he used to just pick up offensive tackles and just set them to the side. He was a man among boys, as great as, and they're different types of players, but a guy like J.J. Watt and Reggie White, two of the best ever, but they did it so differently because Reggie was just such a naturally physically strong man, and what he could do to offensive tackles was unbelievable.
Yeah, the release says it's titled "The Minister of Defense," that examines the complex and sometimes controversial life of Reggie White, one of the greatest and most faith-driven players in NFL history, told in part through never-before-seen footage from a 2004 interview filmed 2 months before his death. The film chronicles both White's incredible dominance as one of the best defensive players ever and his spiritual journey as an ordained evangelical minister who questioned his blind faith toward the end of his life. Along with interviews with teammates from both the Eagles and Packers, the film features Reggie's son, Jeremy, who embarks on a journey to understand his father's life, which ended tragically short of the age of 43. Minister of Defense is a portrait of a man who constantly strived to do right, but found that sometimes there's no easy answer as to what right means.
Yeah, he was just a I don't know how to explain the guy. Tremendous football player, very conscientious man that was concerned about the world around him in so many ways. And you have to think he died in his sleep. What is it? Sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea, yeah.
If he'd had a machine, back then it wasn't that big a deal, but boy, oh boy, it's I've got one of those machines. I wear it every night.
Mm-hmm.
And if he'd have had one, might he still be with us? I don't know, but a tremendous loss at 42 years old, not just for his football, but also off the field, his conscientious as a man as he was.
Mm-hmm. So we were kind of asking if there was a document or a player, sports figure that you would like to see a documentary made of. Who would it be? G-Man's got a good one. Or if there was a player maybe that you would like to see play in person. You got to see a couple of good ones this past weekend.
Yeah, they were on my bucket list.
Yeah, so text those babies on over, all right? 715-830-1912. Quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
Well, good morning. We begin in the courts, and that keeps us local with a judge in Chippewa County who wants doctors to examine a 23-year-old police say drove to western Wisconsin to kidnap a then 15-year-old girl last fall. The judge yesterday ordered a competency hearing for Trevor Blackburn as he's facing kidnapping and sexual assault charges from the case in October of last year. The kidnapping triggered an Amber Alert in Wisconsin and Minnesota. You maybe remember that. Blackburn remains in jail on $1 million bond. Looking at other headlines, it's formal charges after a deadly fire in Taylor County that traces back to January. Prosecutors filed formal charges against 50-year-old Matthew Zarens. He's charged with homicide by negligent handling of a dangerous weapon, conspiracy to commit manufacturing of meth, and a host of other drug charges. Prosecutors say he was using his home in the town of Maplehurst to make meth when the house caught fire. A woman who was inside the home died in that fire. Zarens told police that he smoked meth but said he wasn't making it. In other headlines, when it comes to the traffic flow in DeSoto, we could be back on the go. Highway next to the railroad tracks where that train went off the rails last week could finally reopen. WisDOT saying Highway 35 near DeSoto remains closed, and it will stay that way until inspectors give the all clear. The crews closed the highway after that BNSF train jumped some nearby tracks. That was the derailment that set those cars into the Mississippi River, where 4 people were hurt. The highway was closed as a precaution. Well, ahead of Mother's Day, if you're looking to spoil the special mom in your life, a warning about DATCAP that scammers are now hitting the flower shops as well. Just a heads up that there are a lot of scams going around that involve flowers. You can find more info online. They're growing at 715newsroom.com. And you knew we had to do it. Look at your calendar. May the 4th be with you. Mark Mayfield, talk to me.
People around the world will celebrate Star Wars Day. The unofficial holiday honoring Jedis, droids, and the Force, though, doesn't get its roots from a galaxy far, far away. Instead, it dates back to 1979 in Britain, when Margaret Thatcher was named Britain's first female prime minister. To celebrate her victory, her party took out an ad in the London Evening News saying, "May the 4th be with you, Maggie. Congratulations." The catchy pun has since been the unofficial greeting for Star Wars fans on this holiday. I'm Mark Mayfield.
And Casper says he's one age, but we checked his birth records, and I think there are question marks. We got to start digging deeper because according to his certificate, it says
it dates back to 1979 in Britain.
For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
We're starting off a little milder than yesterday, and we'll have more sunshine after just a few morning clouds. Otherwise, temperatures climbing above average, topping out into the mid-70s. A few clouds still hang around for tonight, however, as we dip to the mid-40s. This will set up a few more chances at some showers for tomorrow. Highs into the mid-60s. Not looking like a washout, but chances for showers present themselves through the weekend. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Let's look at some land prices, not only here, but around the world for agriculture as we look at our food and farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. American farm ground isn't the only place in the world where land prices are going up. It's the same story in Brazil. High commodity prices, huge global demand, and a favorable exchange rate for Brazilian products have all combined to help drive up those land prices down in South America. In the past 3 years, the average value of land for grain production in Brazil has gone up 128%, from $1,875 in 2019 to $4,271 in 2022. And those increases are across the board for Brazilian farmland. Sugarcane ground has increased in value by 94% in the past 3 years to $3,710 an acre, while coffee plantations have increased by 133%, from $1,514 in 2019 to $3,534 an acre last year. Even pasture and forest lands have seen huge increases, up 61 and 54% respectively. Last year, Brazil's gross value of their agricultural production reached $235 billion. That's the second most ever, and expected to be up at least another 6% this year as they have huge crops this year to sell around the world. A lot of that Brazilian land is owned by Americans who are also farming that land. Time for dairy farmers in some parts of the state to vote on who they want to represent them on the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin board. In our area, District 1, most of north and northwest Wisconsin, Brenda Schloniger of Shell Lake running unopposed. District 4, Barron and Polk County, Sarah Bagot Eggert of Clayton and Andrew Christensen of Amory are on the ballot. District 7 is Clark County. Candidates David Bangard of Greenwood and Pam Sells-Prawley of Humbird are on the ballot. Buffalo County is District 13, actually Buffalo, Pepin, and Pierce counties. Donald Dietrich of Alma and Jonathan Halleck of Mondovi are running for that seat. That's a look at some of our farm news this morning on Sports Talk 105.1 and AM 790. I'm Bob Bosold.
Looking for a new job or maybe just tired of boring job fairs when you look? Well, come on out to Careers and Beers at the Brewing Project today from 4 to 6 p.m. This is free to the public, and it's hosted by the station's Midwest family, Eau Claire. And we'll even buy your first beer while you talk to some of the area's best local employers, all looking to hire you. All this in a low-key atmosphere where everyone's relaxed, looking to have a good conversation and a good time talking about your goals. Stop by today, downtown Eau Claire. It's Careers and Beers, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Brewing Project, downtown Eau Claire.
Want to stop engine problems before they start? Pick up a can of Seafoam Motor Treatment. Seafoam helps engines start easier, run smoother, and last longer. Just pour it in your fuel tank. Seafoam is available where automotive products are sold.
Crank it up.
Get up! Get up! He's on his way! He's our man! The man, the myth, the legend! That's Dan!
And now, the Dan Kasper Show.
Second hour kicking off on this May 4th, Thirsty Thursday. Appreciate you tuning in, however, wherever you may be checking in from. Coming up, we'll get back to some more baseball talk here. Brewers going to try to avoid the sweep later on today with Wade Miley on the mound. We'll hit up some hoops chat and all that good stuff. We got a receiver defer coming up at the back end of this hour. Some outdoor tidbits with Jake. Got the opening fishing season coming up here. That'll be around 8:30. But we'll kick off this hour with some sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Yancey Associates. 1871, the first game of the National Association of Baseball Players was played. Fort Wayne beat Cleveland 2-0. 1929, this day, Lou Gehrig hit 3 consecutive home runs. 1954, the first intercollegiate court tennis match in the U.S. Happened. It was between Yale and Princeton. Let's go 1954. The Philadelphia Phillies and St. Louis Cardinals set a National League record when they used 42 players in one game. The Phillies won 14-10. 1963, pitcher Bob Shaw set a record with 5 balks in a game. We've got, let's go, 1975, Bob Watson for the Houston Astros scored the 1 millionth run in Major League Baseball history. Let's go with Dave Kingman hit a fly ball that got stuck in the ceiling of the Metrodome this day in 1984. And Alex Rodriguez hit his 350th career home run and drove in his 1,000th run. He was the youngest player to reach 350 home runs at the age of 28 years and 282 days. Those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Yancey Associates.
And I thought on Sunday, sitting at American Family Field and watching the home run that Ohtani hit, I thought that was going to hit the roof. I mean, I've never seen a ball just continue to climb and climb and climb and climb and went out. If that ball wouldn't have been so high, it would have went 600 feet. I mean, I thought it was, we all thought, everybody thought it's going to go to the ceiling. and it was just an unbelievable blast that he hit.
Yeah. Just looking at, we got a few texts coming in here. So, G-Man, he'd like to see a Bart Starr documentary. He said, this is a cool story. G-Man's mom and dad were at Bart's last home game, and they even have the film they took of his last home game. He said, ask Bob about 8mm cameras that they had back in the day.
Absolutely.
So, that'd be really cool.
I've got 8mm film of my wedding and a few things like that.
That'd be really cool to kind of see that. But
yeah.
That's a cool one there.
Yep.
Tony Mandrich documentary would be interesting. Well, ESPN actually did that one a few years ago. They did one. It was called Mandrich. It was about an hour long, maybe a skosh under an hour. But yeah, they did one a few years ago. I don't know if it was a 30 for 30, but ESPN did one about Tony Mandrich.
I'd love to see him now, with all the steroids and things he put into his body. As his body, what's his body look like now?
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's in good shape, but a lot of times these guys that did that, the way he did it, just that all of a sudden their body just gives up, so to speak. So I'd love to see him. I don't know where he's at, but or what he's doing, but I hope he's doing well. I mean, I have nothing against him, but he really added to his body with foreign substances, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Because this is also, I should have gave you a heads up earlier here before we get into this, but coming up in about an hour, a little under an hour, third year we're doing this. Can Bob tell if it's a horse or a rock band with the Kentucky Derby coming up this weekend?
Forte is the favorite. Will he win it? I don't know, but it's always one day that I will be watching horse racing.
Yes, I got hooked on it.
Friday is the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. That's always a big race too. But this is a big weekend. And I think it's going to be decent in Louisville this weekend too, weather-wise.
Last year's was really. I was watching it. I was at an event, but I was watching it, and I was like, okay, I was even getting into it there because I was like, I was hooked right there at that point. So
yeah, it's a classic, the most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we're gonna play that game. Can Bob tell you if it's an indie rock band or rock band or a Kentucky Derby horse name? So got to give credit to all these people who can come up with these names with those horses.
Sometimes. Oh, it's unbelievable! Some of the names.
It's pretty cool. So we're gonna play that, I think.
But you look at the classic, the horses that win the classic. It's never, my mama's, cookies or something like that. Secretariat, American Pharaoh, Justify, just classic names.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So as we got a few more kind of picks coming in here, a couple of Bart Starr picks actually for a documentary.
Haven't they done a documentary on Bart Starr?
I don't think it's necessarily been just on Bart Starr, like
maybe more on the Packer team.
Yeah, like Lombardi in the 60s and that sort of thing. But I think a Bart Starr one would be pretty good. I just kind of a full on life, because I think, and he suffered tragedy too with his son, one of his sons passing away.
Yep. And he did so much, the Rawhide Boys Ranch over there, and the story of how he raised money with the Corvette that he won, and that story of how he got a kind of a reprieve from then Governor Knowles to hold a raffle,
yeah.
Did without a license, and he said, sell them all this week or this weekend, and he did, and so he did a lot of good in his life.
He has. He did. So that would be a good one. I'd be into that. Is there anyone that you would like to? Was there a Hank Aaron one? I mean, you'd think there'd have to be a Hank Aaron one, right?
I don't know.
Let me look that up.
I think they've done one on Elroy Hirsch, Crazy Legs Hirsch. I think they did one on him. I don't know who did it, but it seems to me they did one on him.
Yeah, they did one in '95 on Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron Chasing the Dream, it's called.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd be okay with maybe like a updated one or something like that, maybe. Because there's a lot of stuff. That's the one thing that kind of bugs me about like biographies when there's biographies that come out and that player, that coach is still playing or coaching. Like I read the Bill Belichick one by Ian O'Connor, and we had him on the show, and it was a great book. But it's like, okay, but after that, there was more stuff that happened. You know, or like I know Giannis, there was one that came out a couple of years ago. Giannis is going to be playing for a little bit more though too. There's going to be more about his career.
And when you look at what makes an interesting documentary, it's part of the personality. You know, the Jordan program that was on, what do they call that one?
Last Dance.
The Last Dance. I mean, that was special because Jordan was so special, and he was such a big personality, you know, with his reputation for, you know, you're pitching nickels against the wall, he was all in. He was, you know, he bet another 1,000 on the side that he was going to win your nickel. I mean, and all. So you got to be a personality as well. You know, like I'm thinking Kareem. And, you know, there's plenty of things you could put in there, but it was pretty level, you know, as far as his personality was concerned. You know, and he had some real strong issues that he dealt with, very much involved in society and things like that. You know, and so, you know, Will Chamberlain, much more of a personality than Kareem. And so, you know, it's
off the court.
You know, that's what I mean. You know, because part of it's not everything is just on the field or on the court. Part of it is off the court, you know, like Jordan's gambling and golf and all the other things that he does and has done. You know, some of these guys like Kareem are just a straight-laced basketball player that had interest in social issues. A lot of things you can put in a documentary like that, but how audience appealing would it be? So there were a lot of guys like that you know, Ty Cobb was probably more of interest than some of these other guys, but you know, Babe Ruth, he was, you know, they've done documentaries on Babe Ruth because he was a bigger than life personality. He was more than just a baseball player. And I think that's the kind of person you have to find.
We had a texter asking if they did one on the Griffies. They did one on King Griffey just a couple years ago on MLB Network. It was called Junior, I believe. So that one's out there. I don't know if I haven't seen it, so I don't know if his dad. I'm sure his dad's probably in there for a little bit.
But, I'm sure he is. He has to be part of it.
Yeah, but as far as like if it's one about just him and his dad together, I don't know if they've done that. But they did do one with Junior recently, a couple years ago. It was on MLB Network, so I'm sure you can probably stream that somewhere now since it's a couple years old. But I haven't seen that one. I'd like to see that one for sure.
Speaking of not being done as far as doing a documentary, including everything, you know, if you're going to do a documentary on Bart Starr, or not Bart Starr, but Brett Favre, don't do it yet.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like he's got a few problems down there in Mississippi that are going to be part of his legacy as well, good, bad, or indifferent. So you never know. If you do it just on his playing, just during the years he was in the NFL, that's one thing. But if you're going to do it on the life of Brett Favre, there's more to it than just football. Apparently, I don't know, you know, innocent till proven guilty, but doesn't sound good.
No, and then I mean, kind of the same with Rodgers at this point too, right? See what happens with old New York.
Boy, is he enjoying the limelight in New York. Man, oh man, I hope he's realizing that, wow, every time I turn around, somebody's taking my picture.
Well,
that's not going to change.
Yeah. Well, there's an article up now too, where like some of the younger Jets players, they're like, how'd they say it? They're like not in shock, but like almost like in awe of Rodgers right now. It's like you better get used to it because that's going to be what it's going to be like for this year.
Yeah,
you know?
It's not only Rodgers in the limelight; it's the whole Jets team that's going to be expected to make the playoffs and, you know, have a run. So you better be ready to perform, or you're going to be taken out of the cut by the media in New York too.
You know, I think let me just double check since we're talking for documentaries here. I'm looking right now. The Jets are one of 4 teams who are eligible for Hard Knocks.
Are they really? That'll be interesting.
How do you? It's either the Jets, the Bears, the Saints, or the Commanders. How would you not do the Jets at this point?
You'd have to. I mean, that's got to be the one you want to do. How much would Rodgers participate in that willingly? I mean, they're going to have to show pictures of him on the practice field and whenever they do this. but how much would he participate in that as far as, because if he participates in that, as a journalist or who's doing that, you know what some of the questions are going to be about his relationship the last few years with the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
And is he going to be willing to share some of that honestly or at all?
Mm-hmm.
That could be very interesting if the Jets were on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, because this is from CBS Sports a while ago, because they've got the different rules, like, if you got a new coach in, you're not eligible. If you've made the postseason or something like that, you're not eligible, that sort of thing. So
Packers will probably be eligible in a year or two.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, it's like, okay, I mean, if it's the Jets, for crying out loud, people would eat that thing up.
Oh, I would think so.
They would eat that up. So
if Rodgers participates.
Well, like it says here, I mean, the NFL can force the Jets to participate. So
yeah, the Jets to participate, but individually
because he probably will get fined and all that. But again, does that really matter to him about being fined and all that? So, but interesting.
Yeah, it would be very interesting.
Bears,
it'd be
I don't
interesting
care.
to see a documentary of all-in-one documentary, the three-quarter, Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers, all in, home of the quarterback or something like that. A documentary of three of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play for one team, something like that. And their successes and failures and challenges and things like that, include them all three in one documentary. I think that could be kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the criteria, if anybody's wondering, to be on Hard Knocks, or that where you're not eligible, because if you're saying, why is there only 4 teams that are eligible? Well, if you have a first-year head coach, you're not eligible. If you have a playoff berth in the past 2 seasons, you're not eligible. That's why Green Bay not eligible this year, because they had one 2 years ago, even though they didn't have it. They've appeared on Hard Knocks in the past 10 years. So
the Lions eligible?
They were on it last year.
Oh, they were. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they were the team last year. That's why everybody fell in love with Dan Campbell again a little bit. So, but give me the Jets. I'll eat that up.
You look at the NFC Central. Receiver to first.
NFC North.
NFC
old
North?
School.
I'm old school.
You're thinking Reggie time yet.
Yeah.
So.
NFC North receiver to fur. Who's under more pressure to make the playoffs? The Lions or the Packers?
I think it's the Lions right now.
Yeah, I think so. Even the Bears.
Yeah.
The Packers are probably, I don't know, the Packers picked to finish 4th in the division this year. I would assume.
I don't know. I've seen the wins and losses, but I'll have to double check it.
I haven't seen the early season prognostications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But interesting. Yeah, we got more people. Yeah, Bart Starr seems to be a popular pick on this one. We do have a couple Favres on there. A Robin Yount. We got a Robin Yount pick on there.
Yep. He'd be a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
A guy like Ray Nitschke would be a good one to be on that documentary of Ray Nitschke.
I know that.
I think he's so underrated.
You don't hear people talk about him anymore.
No,
And he played in that era with like the when I think of in middle linebackers, those tough, dirty,
no teeth,
no
blood,
teeth,
blood coming down the bridge of their nose.
Exactly.
And,
yeah. So his numbers are tired up there, people. I mean, I'll still never forget the day I was at the Packers Pro Shop. Oh man, this might have been close to 10 years ago already. And I asked, because they had T-shirts of all the Pro Football Hall of Famers available, and they didn't have a Don Hudson one. I couldn't find it. And I asked the guy working there, and his response was, "It's only for players who were in the Pro Football Hall of Fame." I'm like, "Oh, that grinded my gears there." And he just walked away. I'm like, "Look out the window, because there's the Don Hudson Center right there, for crying out." Didn't even know the players.
Wow. That's like going into some of the big box stores and you got to fix your bathroom plumbing. You say, "No, I got to do this in there," and the guy says, "All our plumbing stuff is right there."
Yeah,
they don't know first thing about how to help you fix it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's the same thing. But you'd think anybody in Green Bay would know Don Hudson.
Yeah, I just, like, the look on my face, I was like, wow. All right. Well, keep those picks coming. You can text those 715-830-1912 kind of, and also who was maybe an athlete or a player that you wish you could have seen or wish you still could see in person. Like Reggie was one of mine. Jordan was one of mine. I haven't seen Tiger yet in person, so those were.
Oh, you haven't?
I've
Yeah,
not
I've seen Tiger. Man, I never saw Michael Jordan in person. Never.
Those were the three off the top of my
I
head.
threatened to do it, but I never did.
Yeah. Those, I'm sure there's probably more I can think of, off the top of my head, but those are the three that stand out to me.
Yeah, I knocked off two over the weekend, like I said, but they weren't in the Michael Jordan category, but still, you wanted to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I don't care if it would have been the Wizards. It don't matter. I just wanted to see Michael Jordan. I'd probably put Kobe on there too. I never got to see Kobe.
No, I never saw Kobe.
I never saw Shaq
never
either.
Saw Shaq.
Yeah. So my list is growing.
It's tough to see basketball, NBA basketball, when you're here.
Yeah.
It's an effort.
Because especially around here, you don't know if they're going to play now.
Well,
that's
right.
the thing. Especially with the current game, the way everything's going. You just don't know if they're going to be there or not. And you don't want to make that
management.
Yep, exactly. All right, we're going to take a break, and then it's going to be game time for intern. We're going to put him on the spot here. Rock band or racing horse? We'll see how good he is.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Talking with Dr. Logan Shepke, and if you're listening right now and you suffer from headaches, well, a trip to the chiropractor might actually help alleviate that, right, Logan?
That's absolutely right. So with those headaches, dizziness, headaches, whatever you've got going on, that just pressure in your head, we get great results with that. Looking at the cervical spine, going into the head there, and just working through the muscles and the joints to get you back functioning without that constant nagging headache.
And vertigo too, as you kind of mentioned too, that'll help alleviate that.
Yeah, if you got any of that dizziness, you wake up in the morning, you sit up and it's just not quite right. Something's off. The room maybe spins a little bit, or you just feel off as you move through your day. You got that fogginess. It's a great option for you.
If you are experiencing headaches and dizziness, it's time to make your appointment with Shepke Chiropractic. Visit ShepkeChiropractic.com or give them a call at 715-895-8436 to set up your appointment today. Your journey to a healthier, more fulfilling life starts at Shepke Chiropractic.
She tossed the keys on the kitchen table and sank down on the couch in satisfaction. A sip of wine, and Amanda knew she had a good day. She used her noodle and helped a small business grow. A small business run by a small family with small kids that can go to college one day. That's what Amanda had a hand, and with a quiet smile on her face, she knows she gets to do that all over again tomorrow. There's something kind of cool about a job where you get to do that. Instead of running around with a briefcase selling people things they don't need, Amanda gets to help small businesses be better businesses, successful businesses. If that itch to help is in you, you might be the next Amanda, the next person we choose to bring on in our sales and marketing department at Midwest Family Broadcasting. Call Dan and tell him about yourself. 852-2658, 852-2658. Midwest Family Broadcasting. We're an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, let me ask you, how do you like your coffee? Hot or cold? Black or maybe a little cream and sugar? You know what? It's how you take your coffee, because it's your coffee. Maybe you mix it up every once in a while to keep things unique and fresh. That's why at Cabin Coffee in Altoona, they have a wide selection of options for you to choose from. Whether you're in the mood for a blended frappe or an Americano, Cabin Coffee has the coffee that you are in the mood for. So head on over to River Prairie in Altoona and grab your coffee of choice at Cabin Coffee. And like they say on their cups, just be happy and have fun.
Known for quality wear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
More than the scores. More than the news. It's Sports Out the Squeaker. The Dan Kasper Show.
College students or parents of college students, listen up. Spring semester is coming to a close here. Moving day, moving week is coming up. We can all tell when it's that moving time because of all the furniture that's on the side of the road or on the curb. Some of that furniture might be picked up by other students to help furnish their new place they're moving to, but got a new suggestion for you to do something different this year, something that will help your own community. Instead of putting that couch or desk on the curb and waiting for someone to grab it, donate it to the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore, because your donation will help stock the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore, where sales then go to help fund home builds for families in need in our area. And even if you were one of those planning to maybe scour the curbs to try to find that new desk for your room, stop on over at the Restore and see what they all have in stock, and you might even find some more furniture to deck out your new place. Students, parents of students, help your community out this year. Donate your furniture to the Restore and do some shopping there this year. Plus, they're not far from campus. Visit the Restore at 145 North Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire. All right. Get ready, big boy.
Having fun was very close this year. Let's see.
Yeah, are you still excited though, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm excited. Like
Yeah.
Forte and Apple Price or something. There are some, good horses I'm looking forward to.
You so the odds, as you mentioned, Forte is a 3-1 favorite. Is it Tapit Trice? Tapit Trice?
Something like that.
Angel of Empire, all that on
There's
there
a
too.
filly in there too, so should be a good one.
All right. So Tapit Trice 5-1, Angel of Empire's 8-1. So now it's I think this is our third year we've kind of had a little fun with this. Where we will ask Bob if he knows if
Should
this
have
is...
G-Man on the phone, so we've got a team here, so he and I could debate.
You don't
this
need a
up
team.
together.
You don't need a team there, big boy. So I'm going to give you a name, and you got to tell me if that's a Kentucky Derby horse at any point. Doesn't have to be a current one or in the last. It's got to at any point. So
Sometime they ran in the race, huh?
Yep. Or is it a because we know you are a big indie rock fan.
Oh, there's nobody bigger than me. No bigger rock fan than me, man. I'm telling you what.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, you should have no problem
heavens,
with this.
Heavens,
so
no, every greaseball band in the country in the world I know all about.
Oh, you ready to do this here,
Oh,
big
my
boy?
ever, my
All
ever.
right. So first one up for you is Groovy. Is that a horse or is that an indie rock band?
I'm going to say it's a horse.
You're going to say it's a horse?
And I'm wrong.
You got it.
There you go.
A little sound effect right there.
Groovy's a horse.
Groovy is a horse. 1986 Kentucky Derby, finished last place. This is so. He apparently, here's a little nugget about Groovy. He ate jelly donuts, which Groovy the horse was famous for loving as a treat. Also famous for breaking the 130 Beyer speed figure twice, but that's less important. That's according to this write-up. So jelly donuts, I guess.
Nothing wrong with that. I like them too.
Yeah. So all right. Hey, 1 for 1. You're not bad.
Oh, let's quit.
A common year.
A common year. I'm going to say that's a band.
Well, look at you, intern. You got it there too. How about that? 2 for 2.
There you go.
You're on fire right now. Let's see how well you can keep this up here. Bodacious Tatas.
That's got to be a band.
That is.
That's a horse.
That is a horse, of course.
Okay.
That
Never
was
heard of that one.
1985. 1985. Let's go with Mookie's Runnin'.
That sounds like a horse.
That is a horse.
There you go.
Nice job. That was actually in just 2006. 2006.
Boy, and I never heard of any of these horses.
See, I'm trying.
They must not have gotten my attention at the betting window.
Let's go with Baby Bird.
That sounds like a horse too.
You went with a horse. That is. You don't have their CD. I don't know. I've never heard of them either.
My
so-
kids probably got it. I don't have it. I don't know.
Let's go with 36 red.
36 red. I'm going to say that's a horse.
And you, sir, would be correct. That is a horse. That was a very quiet one, but that was 1990 Kentucky Derby. Finished ninth place in the 1990 Kentucky Derby. How about Keep Me in Mind?
I'm going to say that's a horse too.
Look at you. You are correct. I'm not going to play the sound effects anymore. That's too hard here. You're correct. That was sixth place in the 2021 Kentucky Derby. Look at you. Okay. I'll have another.
I think that's a horse too.
First place in the 2012 Kentucky Derby.
Really?
Yep.
I don't remember the name, but
Yeah.
the horse. But I think that's a horse.
Yep. He also finished first in the 2012 Preakness Stakes.
I'll have another.
I'll have another 2012. So, all right, you're not doing too bad right now, intern. Let's go with the Capricorns.
That's got to be a band.
Good one. That was an easy one. I gave you a
with the
layup
S
there.
on the end of it. Yeah.
As soon as I said it, I'm like, you better get. Then I'm like, well, maybe he'll overthink it just a little bit. So
Me overthink? That's not possible.
Ditka.
That's a band.
There you go. Very good. Nice job. I was maybe trying to catch you on that one. Mucho Macho Man.
That is a horse.
Look at you. You were pretty good on that one.
That
2011
one,
Kentucky
yep.
Derby, third place.
Yeah,
So
that was and he's still breeding pretty well right now. He's got some horses in the races now.
Odor in the Court.
That's a band.
That is not. That is a
really?
1996 Kentucky Derby. Or there probably is a band called that though too. So probably somebody is named that. Turducken.
That's a horse.
Yes. Also the famous John Madden Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Thanksgiving treat. So let's go with Elbow.
Band.
Good work. Nice job. Let's go. Kind of going through. Half Moon Run.
Horse.
Band.
Oh, never heard of them.
Let's go with.
They didn't sing 16 tons, I don't think.
Let's go Burgo King.
Burgo King. That sounds like a horse to me.
1932 first place Kentucky Derby winner.
Wow.
Also won the Preakness Stakes, but did not run the Belmont Stakes.
Before my time.
Just barely.
That's right.
Let's go Soup and Sandwich.
Boy, Soup and Sandwich. Band.
That was the 18th place 2021 Kentucky Derby.
Boy, I don't remember. Well, of course they've got 20 horses in the Derby now, and so the ones that finish down the road you pay much attention to because you never hear from them again.
This is a little write up. He actually he slipped from an early second place finish to dead last, and fans found out later it was due to an injury sustained during the race. So that's the one downside, is like when you see these horses get hurt.
That's right.
So it usually doesn't end well.
No, and that's, you look at their legs and you look at the size of their body and the way they're pounding. That's a lot of pressure on those legs as they race, and they get in traffic and they have to make some movement, and you see what can happen on a basketball court. A guy can twist a knee or twist an ankle. Same thing happens to these horses, and they get into that traffic. Now they're going to have 20 in the Kentucky Derby. You get into that traffic and one horse makes a mistake, he can take a half a dozen horses with him that might never race again.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Lady Hawk.
Band.
Very good. Nice work. I thought I was going to get you on that one.
I think we had them at our prom.
Let's go Midlake.
Band.
Good look at you. All right. Now I gotta make this harder. Junk in the Trunk.
It sounds like a great band name, but I'm going to say it's a horse.
It was in 2000. It was a horse in 2000.
I like that name. I don't remember it, but that's a good one.
That's What She Said.
Band.
Nope. 2007
Okay.
racehorse.
Don't know it.
It's a quote from The Office TV show. 18 characters.
Band.
Nope. 2002 racehorse. I'm not saying that one. I'm not going to say it. We'll do a couple more here. Panda Bear.
Panda Bear band.
Very good. Very good. And we'll do one more here. Die Hard.
Band.
1959 Kentucky Derby. 16th place, which surprises me because
who won the Derby in 59? That was Tim Tam or somebody like that won the 1959 Kentucky Derby.
Let me bring it up here for you. That was full results. Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee. Okay, yep. I know Tommy Lee, Tim Tam, and something like that. So
yep. Which surprised me that Die Hard was a 1959 horse, and then years later, finally, the movie came out, obviously on the horse's life with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, there you go.
Portraying it there. So now you've always said too, like, have you been to the Kentucky?
No, I've never been to the Derby. I've been to Churchill Downs a few times when FFA convention was held in Louisville. We'd go over there and tour the grounds, and so I've been there and walked the barns, walked the track, and got the full tour. So it's a bucket list place to go. And I don't know if I want to go on Derby Day because it's so crowded. You can't move around down there anyway. And you're stuck in the stands because all the blue blood, so to speak, get all the around the racetrack and all that sort of stuff. But it's a beautiful place.
One dude who's been going there for the last few years, I don't know if he's going to be able to now, is Aaron Rodgers.
That's right.
Can he leave his New York limelight right now to head down to Kentucky? Well, his best friend, who's also went to school at Kentucky, signed up with the Jets. So they usually have a group that goes down there with Tom Brady also does too.
Well, it's not like you got to make big plans. I mean, they've got private planes. They can fly down there, go to the race, and come back and never even spend the night in Louisville. So it's not a big project. Those type of guys want to go, they'll make arrangements for them to get them in, because the more of those faces they can get on TV and promote the Kentucky Derby and promote Louisville, they'll do it. So if Rodgers wants to go, he's going to be able to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if he owns racehorses, and he owns part of the Bucks and different things, but I don't know if he's into racehorses ownership. At least I don't think so.
I don't think so. One cool. So like Ian Rappaport, who's an NFL insider for NFL, actually has a horse, and he's one of the owners of one of these horses that's in it.
Yeah, there are a lot of different owner groups now that are involved in that, and they say there's an app you can go on, or not an app, but a website. Ownership of a racehorse. Their ownership of a racehorse and ownership of a horse, the quality of a Kentucky Derby horse are a long way apart. That's for sure.
Like you can actually get an ownership stake in a horse?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you can buy a star, same thing?
Yeah. No, this is a little bit more. I mean, this is a physical.
Something you can actually see, maybe.
Racehorse is, and if you want to go to,
you can't
Kentucky
just pick that star and say that's mine.
No, but you can put syndicates together, and you can do that. You can get lucky. The people that own Seattle Slew, they got lucky. They bought him for a song, a couple of young couples, and they got into the racehorse business with Seattle Slew. I mean, that's like finding gold in your backyard. That's how few and far chances you have. But it can happen, and I think they did it for, I don't know, $25,000. They bought Seattle Slew as a colt and turned out to be a Triple Crown winner and bred all kinds of other horses. They sell his breeding rights, and you're a big deal in the horse business all of a sudden.
Fair to say Secretariat is probably the best of all time?
Yeah, he, what he did in the Belmont Stakes is never, ever going to be repeated.
Who would you say, like, so I'm looking at a list here of one listing. This was actually just done a few days ago. Spectacular Bid, number 2.
Yeah, that was a horse that had some hard luck that everybody thought should have been a Triple Crown winner, and then some things happened that he didn't make it. I mean, there are some great horses. American Pharoah is, to me, one of the greatest race horses, because he did it all, won the Triple Crown, won the Breeders' Cup, and he's got some horses on the track right now, young horses that are winning races. American Pharoah, I think, has to be right up there. I mean, then you you go way back in time to some of the early ones, but you just have to think American Pharoah, in my mind, is one of the top 5 racehorses of all times.
Mm-hmm.
You got Cigar in there, and you got some other horses too, but I think Secretariat has to be number 1.
Yeah, they got is it Citation?
Citation, Whirl Away, some of those kind
Swaps.
Yep.
Yeah,
and some of the females, Zenyatta, and there are some female Genuine Risk horses like that were spectacular females, and and they run against the boys and they beat the boys.
They've got one horse here, Hindu from 1881.
Not familiar with Hindu.
Man, that's a while ago.
Yep.
So
not familiar with that horse,
no.
but there've been some great ones.
Our good friend Mark chiming in. I'm heading to Vegas Saturday morning. Intern, what's the horse I should bet on?
Don't
You're putting the pressure on you right now.
I like the Tappa Trice horse.
Yeah.
But that's study the charts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. I expect. Is that your pick then?
If I had to right now say that, without today's only Thursday, and so I'll look a little bit more closely at it before race post time is until about 6 o'clock on Saturday. So that's when.
Let me double check the weather here. I know you kind of mentioned it.
I think it's supposed to be pretty good down there.
Projected. Okay, this was from 9 hours ago though, so I want a little bit more of an updated one.
Well, around here it's supposed to be in the 60s and maybe a scattered shower. And I would think down south of us the weather's going to be warmer than that. And I don't think anybody's got any big heavy rainstorms in the forecast for this part of the central, which Louisville south of us.
That makes a difference with the horses if it's.
Horses don't like to get that mud in their face, and some horses can't adapt, the footing. So you bet makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Well, my computer's kind of being a little weirder. So, rain chances arrive Friday. Most of the forecast data exams suggest any showers that may linger could do so in the morning, with drier weather more likely in the afternoon and around post time of the Kentucky Derby. So there you go.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a washout by any means, and they take care of those tracks. They dig the tracks up, and they'll aerate them and let the water go down through. So I think it should be a good track.
All right, there you go, Bob. You passed the test again this morning, so well done.
Good deal.
There you go. All right, let's finish up the second hour with some receive or defer. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Hunters, are you looking for a brand new firearm to take with you to the woods? Or maybe you want to save a little money and are looking at getting a high quality used firearm? Whatever the case may be, if you're looking for a rifle for, say, deer hunting or shotgun for your turkey hunting adventures, look no further than Tilden Gun. Tilden Gun features a wide selection of new and used firearms. And if you're looking for a particular firearm, Tilden Gun will help you find that firearm for you. And plus, they have a wall of handguns for you to check out as well. And you know you're going to need some ammo, targets, cases, scopes, and other accessories too. Well, Tilden Gun has all the accessories you need to properly outfit your firearm to hit the woods. Tilden Gun has the biggest selection, all at the best prices in the Chippewa Valley. So here's what you do. You could visit tildengun.com to see what all Tilden Gun has to offer. And you could stop by Tilden Gun and check out their amazing shop and see what they all have in store. Visit Tilden Gun today at 12427 98th Avenue, Chippewa Falls. How many of you listening right now are gearing up to be summer weekend warriors? Maybe getting ready for those golf leagues coming up or all those softball and volleyball tournaments. But what about that pain that you have been experiencing and you've been holding off and getting it checked out? Well, sounds like you need to make that appointment with Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Just visit cvosm.com now to schedule your appointment and start living that pain-free, better life today and dominate those weekends this summer.
ServiceMaster of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewaValley.com.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. The Army National Guard has taught me the value of showing respect to those I come in contact with each day. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed and accomplish the mission. Plus, the Army National Guard education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn how you too can live and serve part-time, close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Auto King, Birch Street, Eau Claire. AutoKingEC.com.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Now through June, purchase online with Beacon Pro Plus, web or app, and earn up to $1,500. Beacon, always building.
Do you remember all those times playing in the backyard and daydreaming of either playing on your favorite sports team or dreaming about all the goals you wanted to accomplish in life? We still do that today, and that's why we created Backyard Dreams. We want to help people accomplish their goals, chase their passions, and achieve their dreams. Whether someone's dream is to attend a ball game, someone needs a new pair of basketball shoes, or a Little League team needs help going to a tournament, we want to help, and we need your help as well to help our community. To learn more about Backyard Dreams, just visit sportstalk1051.com.
Let's just jump right into it. Time for a little receive or defer to finish up the second hour. I know you've got some intern probably, so I'll give you the honors.
All right. Well, I've been watching a little NBA basketball, and right now, receiver defer. Anthony Davis is the best big man in the NBA.
I'll defer.
Who you say is better?
If they're healthy,
yep,
I'll take Joel Embiid or Jokic. Do we consider them big men?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He's top 5, but I'd go with Embiid or the Joker first.
Okay.
1 or 2.
I put AD ahead of Embiid, and I'm not sure about the Joker, but right now Anthony Davis is a difference maker.
Yeah, the Lakers aren't going to win if it's not LeBron, it's Anthony Davis.
I 100% agree with that. That's for sure. Also, another receiver defer. Again, watching NBA basketball playoffs, receiver defer officiating is one of the major reasons fans get turned off by the NBA.
Receive. 100%.
Boy, It's frustrating. I mean, you know, you played the game, I played the game, everybody out there has played the game at some level. But boy, it's different when you watch these. I mean, these guys are different than you and I. I mean, you talk about Anthony Davis and Embiid and Giannis and Jason Tatum and all these other guys. They can do things that obviously we never could do. But still, the officiating, I think, it just makes you scratch your head. I mean, they just beat each other up under the basket, no foul, and a guy out on the top moves, and where was that foul? And I mean, it's just frustrating to watch the officiating. I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just the way the game is called in the NBA is so foreign to fans, most fans.
I would agree with that. Like what you think is like kind of obvious stuff that doesn't get called in that, like even like the traveling, you know, that sort of stuff. It's like
there was Jason Tatum in the game. Was it last night? Did they play last night?
Yep.
He was down in the first half of the game. He was down on the baseline, and he was dribbling, and then he absolutely picked the ball up and carried it and held it and then dribbled it again. And then they got a foul on, I believe it was Embiid, fouled him going to the basket. And these guys are watching this, and I'm thinking, I mean, a grade school referee would have called carrying the ball on that.
Mm-hmm.
And they let these guys get away with it. And that's one of the reasons they are so good, because they get away with some things that they shouldn't get away with. But I'm watching that, and it was on the baseline. I don't know if anybody else watched it and remembered it, but I'm thinking, the guy, because the announcer said, look at how low he keeps the ball. And he's dribbling. Well, he stopped and he picked it up and he rolled it over and then he dribbled it again. And I'm thinking, you got to call that.
Yeah.
And they don't. So officiating is a real bugaboo for me.
Mm-hmm. No, I
and some obvious things that, they say, well, in the playoffs, that's not a foul. What's the difference whether it's a playoffs or regular? The game it's still 5-on-5. They're still trying to put the ball in the basket. The game is still the game. And I know they don't want to foul out the Stars and this, that, and the other thing in the playoffs. But still, like you said, traveling, carrying the ball, call those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't like, I'm with you too. Like, I don't like that excuse or narrative of like, well, they don't call that in the postseason or something. Why? It should be the same throughout. I get it. Like you said too. Yeah, you don't want your all-stars or your superstars out. Well, then don't make a foul, or anything. I don't like it when they change it. Or like in the NFL where they call like lesser ones or something like that in the postseason or what. I just wish it was consistent throughout the whole thing. Yeah. And I think that's what adds fuel to why people get frustrated, because they see it maybe called differently.
And they were supposed to not call or call. I'm trying to think what their terminology was, or call the shooter. But these guys, these 3-point shooters that are, they'll throw up the 3-point shot and they'll fall down or they'll stumble and then thinking there's a foul. Well, and they'll call a foul on these guys, and these 3-point shooters, they're great actors, and they get an extra free throw many times. But I don't know. The officiating is just a bugaboo for me in the NBA.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you there. So, did you have another one?
No, that'll do it for now.
Okay. Receive or defer, is Steph Curry a top 10 NBA player of all time?
Absolutely.
You think so? Top 10?
Yep.
Kareem, Michael, LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I can put. He's close.
You got Bill Russell, you got Wilt. You got
Larry Magic,
Larry Bird, Magic. You got a lot of players.
Do you put Steph Curry above Kobe?
No.
That's because when you kind of go down that list, and I was at 7 or 8, and I didn't have Kobe and Steph in there yet, so it's close.
I think receiver defer. I think Kobe Bryant is one of the. He's recognized one of the greatest of all time, but among that group, Kobe is one of the least talked about superstars.
Yeah, I think you can make that case. I mean, after his passing, obviously he was talked a lot about, but when you talk about some of the greats or GOATs, yeah, I think people kind of forget about him a little bit there too.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he was
the guy between Jordan and LeBron.
He was almost Michael Jordan reincarnated. I mean, I know they played in the same era pretty much, but still, LeBron or Kobe
was the closest to Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah, he could do things that that other players just can't or couldn't.
And I think you got to factor in body type, body size. Like LeBron's bigger. He's more powerful.
Yeah, he's a man child. He came in that way.
Mm-hmm. Kobe's got, I would say, is the closest, like game wise, in that to Jordan than what we've seen. Not LeBron or anything like that.
Oh no, and I think Kobe kind of gets lost in the discussion sometimes, because I think he was just a tremendous top 10 player.
Because even beginning part of his career, it's Shaq. It was Shaq. He gets overshadowed by Shaq. I mean, Shaq was dominant, so I'm not taking away. I mean, I'm a Shaq guy. And then, he's comes in at the end of Jordan's career, so we're still under like a Jordan hangover. And then the kid LeBron comes in and all hyped on there. It's like Kobe kind of got stuck in the middle. He's the middle child.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the middle child between those three. So I would agree with that. I'd receive that.
Yeah, I think too. But I'd put Steph in the top 10 all time.
He's pretty darn close. I don't know if he's above 8 for me, but somewhere in that 8 to 10 range.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the guys that has transcended the game.
Oh, there's
That's
no
for sure.
question. He changed the game. That's for sure. And the 3-point shot is just something that you've got to expect now in every game. I mean, it's just bring the ball down, and a lot of times the other 4 guys on the team are, there's only 2 or 3 guys on the offense on the plus side of half court when the 3-pointer goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the 3-point shot is definitely, I think the 3-point shot has changed the game of basketball probably more than, I don't know, any other rule has changed any other major sports.
Maybe,
when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They raised
Because
and
you kind of
lowered,
wonder,
they raised and lowered the mound, but
was it Havlicek or Pistol Pete? If you'd have wondered if they would have had the 3-point shot back in the
Pistol
day.
Pete.
Pistol Pete.
Yeah.
All right, 2 in. We got 1 more to go. We'll be back after these quick news updates.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
Well, good morning. We begin in the courts, and that keeps us local with a judge in Chippewa County who wants doctors to examine a 23-year-old police say drove to western Wisconsin to kidnap a then 15-year-old girl last fall. The judge yesterday ordered a competency hearing for Trevor Blackburn as he's facing kidnapping and sexual assault charges from the case in October of last year. The kidnapping triggered an Amber Alert in Wisconsin and Minnesota. You maybe remember that. Blackburn remains in jail on $1 million bond. Looking at other headlines, it's formal charges after a deadly fire in Taylor County that traces back to January. Prosecutors filed formal charges against 50-year-old Matthew Zarens. He's charged with homicide by negligent handling of a dangerous weapon, conspiracy to commit manufacturing of meth, and a host of other drug charges. Prosecutors say he was using his home in the town of Maplehurst to make meth when the house caught fire. A woman who was inside the home died in that fire. Zarens told police that he smoked meth but said he wasn't making it. In other headlines, when it comes to the traffic flow in DeSoto, we could be back on the go. Highway next to the railroad tracks where that train went off the rails last week could finally reopen. WisDOT saying Highway 35 near DeSoto remains closed and it will stay that way until inspectors give the all clear. The crews closed the highway after that BNSF train jumped some nearby tracks. That was the derailment that set those cars into the Mississippi River where 4 people were hurt. The highway was closed as a precaution. Well, ahead of Mother's Day, if you're looking to spoil the special mom in your life, a warning about DATCAP that scammers are now hitting the flower shops as well. Just a heads up that there are a lot of scams going around that involve flowers. You can find more info online. They're growing at 715newsroom.com. And you knew we had to do it. Look at your calendar. May the 4th be with you. Mark Mayfield, talk to me.
People around the world will celebrate Star Wars Day. The unofficial holiday honoring Jedis, droids, and the Force, though, doesn't get its roots from a galaxy far, far away. Instead, it dates back to 1979 in Britain, when Margaret Thatcher was named Britain's first female prime minister. To celebrate her victory, her party took out an ad in the London Evening News saying, "May the 4th be with you, Maggie. Congratulations." The catchy pun has since been the unofficial greeting for Star Wars fans on this holiday. I'm Mark Mayfield.
And Kasper says he's one age, but we checked his birth records, and I think there are question marks. We had to start digging deeper because according to his certificate, it says
it dates back to 1979 in Britain.
For Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
We're starting off a little milder than yesterday, and we'll have more sunshine after just a few morning clouds. Otherwise, temperatures climbing above average, topping out into the mid-70s. A few clouds still hang around for tonight, however, as we dip to the mid-40s. This will set up a few more chances at some showers for tomorrow. Highs into the mid-60s. Not looking like a washout, but chances for showers present themselves through the weekend. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
Want to stop engine problems before they start? Pick up a can of Seafoam motor treatment. Seafoam helps engines start easier, run smoother, and last longer. Just pour it in your fuel tank. Seafoam is available where automotive products are sold.
Let me ask you something. Did you name your firstborn after a football player?
Hell yes.
Did you spend your honeymoon going to a football game?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Do you spend most of your free time hanging out in your man cave?
Yes! Yes! Yes!
If you answered yes to all the above, then you, my friend, are a serious sports fan just like Dan.
Yes!
This is exactly where you belong. Sports talking and BSing is what we do best.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
So rise and grind, people, because the Dan Kasper Show is on the air.
You serious, Clark?
Right now.
Showtime! Woo!
All right, third and final hour, kicking off here this morning. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we're going to catch up with Jake Bolks.
Fishing season sunset. Didn't it open up?
Yeah, exactly. So actually, he
shouldn't be shortage of water.
It sounds like he just sent me a message on here. I think he just got himself a turkey this morning. So that lucky duck.
Good for him. You rubbing it in?
I don't know, but he's got a new number, so I gotta get back to him here in a minute. But yeah, you got the fishing opener coming up. Have you gotten your boat out yet? Getting it ready? Close yet? No. You gotten the convertible out yet?
Oh yeah,
I figured
I'll
that.
probably be out in that today.
Oh boy, keep those windows rolled up on the side.
Oh no way! I saw a guy yesterday driving his little blue convertible with the windows rolled up, and I thought, nope. My son would say, "What a hanyak driving his convertible with the windows rolled up."
Oh my goodness! So, every time now I see that, I think of you instantly. Just yeah. I don't know.
Not right.
No, not at all. So, Brewers will try to avoid the sweep later on today. Wade Miley is going to be on the mound for the Brew Crew. So, Brewers don't have to worry about going up against left-handed pitcher today, though. But Brewers will throw out their left-handed pitcher. Wade Miley off to a fantastic start this season so far.
Yeah, he's doing really well. But the Brewers, you can't go into Colorado and score 2 runs and 1 run.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hitter's ballpark.
And you're 1 run in the final inning.
Yeah, exactly. You just can't do that.
Nope. So, do you like the Brewers' chances today?
Oh, I like the Brewers' chances. Yeah, I mean, it's who knows if Wade Miley can continue to pitch like this, they just got to stop giving up home runs.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. We're giving up too many home runs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, Wade Miley, a pleasant surprise so far for the Brewers this year, as long as he can stay healthy and such. But I picked him as my player of the month for April. I know you could probably go with a couple of other options out there, but for me, I went Wade Miley and his 3-1 record with a sub-2 ERA, considering, with some of the injuries, Brandon Woodruff hopefully being back next month at some time, and even Corbin Burns not pitching up to a Corbin Burns level. I picked Wade Miley as my guy.
Good choice.
For the first month. Who would you have picked for you?
I think Wade Miley would have been right up there. If some of those other rookies, Weimer, you got to give Weimer credit. He stepped up and done a nice job. He's got a lot of improving to do, but he stepped up and done a nice job in center field. And, he's gotten on base, gotten some hits. His average is, 220, something like that. But I think he's growing, and, they've gotten contributions from some people. And Rowdy Tellez didn't have a bad April. I think some of these other guys step up, and those guys continue on. They'll be all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Looking across Major League Baseball, obviously, with the Rays, I saw this nugget. With the Rays, this was actually from Paulie Paps from the Dan Patrick Show here. After 31 games, the Rays have outscored opponents by a total of 113 runs. That is the highest run differential through the first 31 games since 1902, and the Pittsburgh Pirates did that. And then on the flip side, The Oakland Athletics have been outscored by opponents by a total of 123 runs. That is the worst run differential through the first 31 games since 1887 and the Cleveland Spiders.
I think Oakland is consolidating their funds.
Yeah.
In the move to Vegas.
That's a polite way to put it.
To build the stadium.
I know they kind of ran into a hiccup. I think that something about they got to vote on like is it local county boards or local boards have to vote on. So I don't really understand the whole political side of it all yet.
But it won't be long in Las Vegas. They'll have a full venue of pro teams. Basketball will be there soon. Athletics will be there in a few years. So, I think Seattle and Las Vegas are going to get NBA teams.
Yeah, you gotta at least do two. I think now with all these leagues, if you're going to add one, I feel like you're going to have to add two.
Seattle, kind of like Cleveland. They kind of took that team away and took them to Oklahoma City, and and Seattle wanted a team. They needed a team. They deserved to have a team. And I think they're going to, like when the Browns left to Baltimore, I think, it was embedded in the NBA that Cleveland has to have a team. I think Seattle will get one, and I think Las Vegas will get one. Now, whether they'll both get them at the same time, I don't know, but I think they're both going to get them.
Yeah. So, 2:10 first pitch today for the Brewers. We were kind of asking earlier on, was there any players or sports figures that you wish you could have seen in person, whether it was in the past or maybe in the present right now? We do have a couple people that chimed in with Ohtani, who you just got to see for the first time. Hitting, not pitching, but still, you got to mark it off your bucket list.
Yep.
Is there anybody that's currently playing right now that you'd still like to go watch in person in any sport?
I've never seen LeBron play.
Giannis?
I've never seen Giannis play either. Those two guys in basketball, I don't know, others in baseball, probably not so much. I'd love to have been in the years gone by, see Mickey Mantle play at Yankee Stadium. I've been to Yankee Stadium. I got there, the old Yankee Stadium. I'd love to see Mickey Mantle play when he was in his prime.
So you got to see the house that Roos built?
Yeah, I did.
Before
they got rid of it.
That's the one thing I understand it and all that, but I hate to see some of those stadiums go, the older stadiums with history attached to it.
Yeah, and the old Comiskey Park in Chicago is gone, and some of those, and it's the economic situation is so important now, and it overshadows the historical significance of those facilities. And I'm not sure how long now it's to the point where I will never see Wrigley Field gone, Fenway Park gone. Some of those iconic Lambeau will never be gone. Those stadiums aren't going anyplace. But I was in old Comiskey Park, and I've had a chance to go in the new facility when it was first opened up down in Chicago on the south side. A tremendous improvement. Although Comiskey Park was a great old park, but it was an old park, and you couldn't put in the facilities that you need to make that extra revenue. American Family Field is an unbelievable upgrade from County Stadium. You've got facilities in there now that you can turn into some economic benefit for the team, and that's what you have to have now, because it's a business. It's you love it as a sport, but bottom line, these things are businesses.
Well, that's why you see, with the Titans getting approved with their new stadium, they're probably going to put a roof over that and host a Super Bowl.
Yep.
And I don't think they've ever hosted a Super Bowl before, but you got that. You mentioned AmFam Field. What do they do now? They have concerts. They just had a college basketball game there with the Badgers and such.
Yeah. Well,
Lambeau Field even's putting in concerts. So
yeah, Twin Cities would never host a Super Bowl if it wouldn't be for the Dome Stadium.
But that's where you've seen a lot of these new ones. Like Tennessee was an outdoor one, so now you're putting. I did find it. I don't know if you saw the quote the other day. The Mets owner Steve Cohen, because they were getting rained out a lot, and he mentioned too that they did look into adding a retractable roof to their stadium, but said it was like too much. It's like Steve Cohen saying it's too much.
Yeah, in New York, and where they've got oodles of money. But and some of these stadiums, they want to play outdoors, put the roof over it, but maybe leave some of the sidewalls open. And in baseball, I don't know, maybe that would cause kind of a wind tunnel problem that, that would be tough to deal with as far as pitching and hitting. Football, I don't think it'd be quite that much of a problem, but you'd think with all the engineering genius we have in the world, they'd be able to come up with something that would allow them to play in the rain or, some of those conditions.
Right.
But like you said, Baltimore, you can't take it's a kind of south out there by Washington, D.C., but you can't take a chance on having the Super Bowl there without a dome stadium. I mean, like I said, the Twin Cities would never, ever get a Super Bowl without a dome stadium.
Right.
Just not going to happen.
Right. And now I just wonder if they're ever going to get another one there, because when they did have the Super Bowl there, media people were complaining how cold it was over there. Jeez Louise.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was part of the atmosphere, take them out ice fishing, and, that's part of
that's the thing is, like, you got to part
of the culture.
Right. Yeah. Ingrain yourself in that culture.
Yeah.
Because when's the next time you're probably going to go? So Peter King did. He went out, he wrote an article about it. He went out ice fishing.
Yeah. Ride a snowmobile or do some of that sort of stuff. Walk in snowshoes. There's plenty of things to do that will ingratiate you to the area. You're a spoiled writer and you don't want to do any of those things, and you think you've got to be entertained and wined and dined. Well,
sitting on a beach and all that,
that's not going to happen. But but I'm glad it got up here to this part of the world.
I hope it does go back
I
again.
do too. I hope
really
it comes,
do.
You bet. Absolutely.
But I don't know if it will. I really don't. I mean, they tried the New York outdoor one, but they got lucky with I think it was like 50 degrees at Super Bowl.
I was nervous about that one. I thought, this could really be the demise of anything even close to being north.
Yeah, and they got lucky weather-wise. Plus, it was a boring Super Bowl because it was then when Seattle just dominated Denver.
Oh, yeah.
It was just got the weather perfect, but then it was over with right away. So, but we'll see. I know, like, the draft, hopefully it'll be in Green Bay in a couple of years, but that's another money thing there too.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
and
different.
I don't know where they
20
will
years.
hold that draft in Green Bay because the foyer isn't big enough.
No, I think they'll utilize the Resch Center
because where they held it in Kansas City.
Did you watch any of that on the TV? By the way,
okay, it was right the Crown Center. You could you saw the World War II memorial. You saw the big tower, the cement tower. The Crown Center, where we have our broadcasters convention, is right next to it. The green room, where all the athletes were, was in Union State. The old Union Station was the state railroad station where the soldiers went and got on the train to head out to Europe in World War II. That was, so many soldiers went through that station. But the green room where all the athletes, but I've been in there many times for receptions and happy hours and things like that. That was where all the gates were to the trains on either side. They didn't show it a whole lot, but on either side, you could see the gates if you knew what you were looking for. And so and it's a big, long area where they had it's like the waiting room of a big airport. And so it was kind of fun to watch that, having been there just last year. Every year I'm there, and you go through Union Station, whether you go there to eat or whatever it may be, but it's kitty corner from the Crown Center, big open area out front. I think they added that pool though, that big pool that was out there. I think that was artificial, and that's probably gone by now.
I what was the number? Because it was a huge number in attendance, I believe. I'm gonna see if I can find it here quick.
Yeah, because they flowed right across. They must have closed the road behind it, between the Union Station and the War Memorial that they had there on the lawn and the ellipse, and they must have closed the whole thing and used all that for an area for pedestrians, because there were a lot of people there, and that had to be what they did. But it's kind of neat to know the area where they were in at Union Station.
So these have been the attendance numbers since they've started to make the draft a tour, whatever. So I was at the first one in Chicago in 2015, and what you see on TV now and what it was in Chicago is completely different. I've said this many times, like Chicago was like a beer tent and a couple of other things, and it was it.
Well, I think everything grows.
Right, yeah. They had 200,000 at that one. 2016, it was in Chicago again for 225,000. Then it went to Philly, 250,000. This one surprised me. Dallas was only 200,000. I don't think anything's going to top Nashville. 600,000 people.
Yeah, that was wild.
Then 2020 was the virtual because of COVID. Cleveland, 160,000. Vegas, 300,000. And then Kansas City, 312,000.
Yeah, and I don't know how they measure the crowd size because, they're all over the place. But, and I think they had it in Green Bay. I just don't know where they'd have it in Green Bay.
This article here that I'm reading now, the NFL, we know that next year's draft is going to be held in Detroit, but the year after that remains a bit of a mystery. It is expected that the 2025 NFL draft location will be revealed later this month. According to Front Office Sports, the favorite looks to be Green Bay, which is the NFL's smallest market, but will be able to accommodate foot traffic and media based in nearby Milwaukee. Interesting. And I know Mark Murphy did say when he was here that they're expecting it to be 2025 or 2027.
And I'm not familiar with Green Bay outside of right around Lambeau Field, and I'm not sure, if they've got the facilities there to.
Well, I know they redid the, Rush Center where it was the Brown County Arena and all that. So, but I look at like the Cleveland number, 160,000, because I was kind of getting worried. I'm like, okay, how do they accommodate 312,000? They can't accommodate 600,000 for crying out loud.
Absolutely not.
But maybe that's 160 range somewhere around there if we use Cleveland as a.
And you've also got, held in April. You've also got to cross your fingers on the weather because 4 weeks ago we had temperatures in the 80s, and then it went into the tank, and now it's just coming back this week. I mean, last week wouldn't have been a very comfortable.
Well, I think Green Bay just got some snow early part of this week or something like that.
And I don't think the last week would have been a very comfortable outdoor venue to hold the draft in Green Bay. So, they're that aspect. They're not going to change the date of the draft.
No.
So you got to kind of, again, get a little bit lucky with the weather.
Mm-hmm. Well, when was this article written? Because if it was, it had to have been. Well, if they have the numbers for the Kansas City one, it had to have been recently, right? So.
Yeah, because it just wrapped up over the weekend.
So if we find out this month that the 2025 draft is going to be in Green Bay, I better keep my eye on some hotels and that because I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm 100% going for the whole time.
Yeah.
So.
Or find somebody in Green Bay.
That's the other thing, too. I might have to crash at somebody's house or something, but.
I got a place.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You have to hook me up, okay?
Yeah, we can
do the show the whole week from there. We get dibs, not Madison. We get dibs.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. So, but that'll be, I know I went to Chicago and I want to go again, and just because it's been different for the last 8 years. So, but. It'll be fun. I'm really curious to see how Green Bay can handle it.
Yeah, we can maybe hook you up to do it from the front porch so you can watch all the people walk by. If it's going to be at Lambeau Field, I'm not sure how they can handle it because you got to park cars someplace.
Yeah.
And whether they would not allow Lambeau Field's parking lot to be used for parking outside of for really high priority people.
Right.
Like maybe the general managers are actually at their own, war room, so to speak, at home.
Mm-hmm.
But, you got the players that are coming in there and their families. You allow them to drive in and sit in the green room or however it would work. I'm not sure. But
you'd have to set up studios for like NFL Network and ESPN, indoor and outdoor. Because they'll do an outdoor event while everything's inside, probably at the Rush Center, I would assume.
Well, they've got these big tent buildings that they put up now that are, they've got steel rafters. And they just put the tent over the top of them, and they look like buildings now, and you can really decorate them and look fancy. But I hope Green Bay gets it. I really do. I'm just be interesting to, and I know they can figure it out, but it'll be interesting to see how they do it.
Yeah, I mean, you got the whole Titletown district and all that on display. So
yeah. And I would
maybe they'll have the number one pick.
Yeah, don't say that. But I would expect, they got Lombardi Avenue and Holmgren Way. And like I said, in Kansas City, it looked to me like they closed off, a road between the Memorial and the Union Station that's about like Claremont Avenue, like 2 or 3 lanes in each direction.
So close down
that off for
Lombardi.
a block or two, and then then you've got a lot more room to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think then they'd probably close down Lombardi.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They'll
Lombardi
close
Avenue.
down something like that and actually use that for a place to have the crowd.
Gosh, those houses right on Lombardi Avenue. Oh, the price tag probably for renting it on that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Up
Better
through
be
the
good.
roof.
You better be good to me, boy. I know some people.
Tell you what, let's take a quick break and then we'll catch up with Jake. We got opening fishing, turkey seasons also going on and such. So we'll do our outdoor tidbits with Mr. Jake Bolks coming up in just a couple minutes.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Price, quality, customer service. That's the big 3 I look for when I'm looking to get a big project done. And sometimes it can be hard to find all those 3 in one place. But when it comes to replacing your flooring, one place hits all 3 of my marks. Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. They hit the pricing mark because they will match or beat the competition if you happen to find a better deal elsewhere. Quality is pretty easy because they have all the best and top-of-the-line flooring options that you could ask for. They carry the best brands in carpet, tile, luxury vinyl, and more. And customer service. I could talk to you throughout this entire commercial about their customer service. It's easily one of the best, most courteous, helpful, and friendly staffs you could work with. They're with you through every step of the process, from finding the floor that fits your budget and what looks good and works best in your home or office. Taking on big projects can be a little nervous to think about, but when it comes to replacing your flooring, that nervousness goes away with the help from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Just visit them today at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire and see for yourself.
Imagine you're looking at a balancing scale with everything you do for other people on one side and everything you do for yourself on the other side. If it isn't balanced, maybe it's time to spend a little more time on you. And therapy is a great way to make sure you make that time for yourself. BetterHelp offers online therapy on your schedule. It's convenient, affordable, and entirely online. It's the same professional service you'd get from an in-person therapist, but with the option to communicate when and how you want, by chat, phone, or video call. Plus, getting started is easy. Just go to their site and fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist based on your unique needs and preferences. If you don't find the right match the first time, don't worry. You can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Balance the scale with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/rightchoice to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/rightchoice.
She tossed the keys on the kitchen table and sank down on the couch in satisfaction. A sip of wine, and Amanda knew she had a good day. She used her noodle and helped a small business grow. A small business run by a small family with small kids that can go to college one day. That's what Amanda had a hand in. And with a quiet smile on her face, she knows she gets to do that all over again tomorrow. There's something kind of cool about a job where you get to do that. Instead of running around with a briefcase selling people things they don't need, Amanda gets to help small businesses be better businesses, successful businesses. If that itch to help is in you, you might be the next Amanda, the next person we choose to bring on in our sales and marketing department at Midwest Family Broadcasting. Call Dan and tell him about yourself. 852-2658, 852-2658. Midwest Family Broadcasting. We're an equal opportunity employer.
There's no sign of identity theft slowing down. And why should it? More than $14 billion were stolen from identity theft victims last year alone. To cyber criminals, that would be a success story. To the rest of us, it's a wake-up call. Your personal information is in more places now than ever. And the exposure could make it dangerously easy for somebody to steal your identity. LifeLock by Norton makes it easy for you to help you protect yourself, monitoring your identity, alerting you to threats that you could miss on your own. If you become a victim of identity theft, a U.S.-based LifeLock restoration specialist dedicated to your case will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But save up to 25% off your first year right now. Call 1-800-LIFELOCK or go to lifelock.com. Make sure you use the promo code Patrick. That's promo code Patrick. Save up to 25% off your first year.
This is one of my favorite times of the year. Nice weather, golf, vacation time, little league games, enjoying the warm weather before it's gone because it's Wisconsin and you never know. But it seems like this time of year also goes by quicker than any other time of the year. And we know time doesn't speed up. It's just because we're so busy doing so many different things that it just seems like we never have enough time. Before you know it, we're already into fall and hunting season. So this is my quick reminder to you hunters that even though we're heading into spring and summer, time is going to be flying on by and we are going to be preoccupied by so many things. So don't forget to get that new deer rifle or new shotgun before the fall hunting season from Tilden Gun. Whether you're looking for new or used, Tilden Gun has the best selection of firearms to choose from, all at the best prices in the Chippewa Valley. Now is the time to start getting ready for fall hunting season. So don't let it sit on the back burner during your busy time. Visit the locally owned and family operated Tilden Gun today at 12427 98th Avenue in Chippewa Falls.
The latest sports news, scores, opinion, and commentary. If that's not enough, you should seek professional help. The Dan Kasper Show.
Graduation's coming up at the end of this month or maybe at the beginning part of next month. If you're looking maybe for some ideas on to hold that epic graduation party for that youngster or whoever may be graduating, Hy-Vee tonight has a graduation open house, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can stop by and sample some of their graduation favorites to help plan your 2023 graduation party. Again, that's tonight from 4 to 6 p.m. at Hy-Vee here in Eau Claire. All right, it's time for our outdoor tidbits with Mr. Jake.
Answering your questions and giving you the tips you need to be successful and safe in the outdoors. It's time for your outdoor tidbits. Have a question you'd like answered by Jake? Send it to us, and we'll ask for you.
Did the rumor mill, is it true, Jake? Did you get a bird? Did you get a bird?
Got my bird this morning. All is good.
You lucky son of a gun. You lucky son of a gun.
Would you run into it in your truck or what?
Almost, it seems like. I hunted all day yesterday, didn't have any luck, and tried a new spot this morning, and got lucky. It basically flew down right in the field, and before 6 o'clock, I was tagged out.
Man. Well, congratulations, big guy. So
thanks.
That's
yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, awesome.
How big a bird is it?
It's a tom. I didn't measure anything yet. I'm just actually getting home, but I'd say it's a pretty average tom, maybe a little bit bigger, but it's a nice bird. I'm really happy with it.
So how are you going to prepare it?
Usually I save one of the breasts for Thanksgiving, and then I always slow cook the legs and turn it into basically like pulled pork or barbecue pulled turkey, and it tastes real good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Son of a gun, no.
One year I cut the breast real slow or real thin and made some like turkey jerky, and I'm thinking about doing that with one of them this year.
All right. Well, if you ever want some taste testers, intern and I will be over.
Yeah, feel free to visit us on Thursday morning live.
Yeah, right. Maybe if I make it in there sometime soon, I can bring in a little sample.
All right, nice. I like it. Well, you got you got tagged up there, Jake. But this weekend we've got fishing opener, right? It's coming in here. Here pretty hot
Saturday.
here. Oh, so
people are pretty excited.
You got the boat ready and everything. Are you going to be cruising the boats, or what's the plan for you this weekend?
Yeah, I got a few different things. I'll definitely get out on the boat at some point. There's a lot of pressure on the trout streams as well. There are a lot of Minnesotans that actually come out and hit like the St. Croix, Dunn County, and Eau Claire County. Trout fishing, and then some other spots I think on our team in like Chippewa, Clark County. I might swing through there and work some areas as well. So a lot on the docket.
Yeah. So go ahead, Bob.
How does you say a lot of Minnesota people, Jake? How does our fishing season coordinate with theirs that they're coming over here?
Usually they're around the same time as us, maybe a week sooner. I'm not sure when the Minnesota opener is, but it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like deer.
Well,
I know a lot of people like the trout fishing out here.
Oh, that's good. Well, we welcome all the Minnesota fishermen to Wisconsin and spend a lot of money while you're here.
Right, for sure.
So, go ahead, Jake.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to ask. So, I mean, with the opener though, too, that there's still some rules in place too, like with what you can still kind of go and target what you can fish for. Correct.
Correct. So the most important thing, just like every time I get on here, is read the regulations, because based on where you're fishing and what the date is, could determine whether you can even fish for a species yet, or if it's a catch and release or a season like that. So most importantly, before you go out tomorrow morning, make sure you buy your new license. The license is all the licenses reset April 1st. So if you haven't gone fishing yet, buy your new fishing license before you get out. And then just make sure you look at the rig. So for the general, inland lake opening, if you're, in the southern part of the state, most everything's open, the muskie and the bass and everything. Up north, there are still some seasons that are either catch or release, or there's still part of the state where you can't muskie fish till the end of the month.
Is there a reason for that? Or is it just weather, or just based off of? I mean, because it's been like that for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's mostly based off, the southern part of the state's warmer, so the fish spawn sooner and kind of are, get through that whole period quicker than the north, where they're still, watching ice go away. So I think it's to help protect them during the spawn and stuff, to give them a couple extra weeks or a month to do what they need to do to help, stabilize their population, and then we can target them.
How are the some of the water levels for? I mean, obviously they're going down here, but are they still fairly high in some spots for people heading out this weekend, Jake?
Yeah, they're still pretty high. I mean, it's definitely safer, better than it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. But driving over the 94 bridge this morning on over the Chippewa, it's still real high. The water's still up near the state trail or up in the trees, so it's still high. It doesn't mean there's not fish. It just might mean where you target them a little bit. And the lakes are a little high. There's most of the ice has gone up north, which is a good thing. But the water levels, or the water temperature, is going to be a lot cooler. So where you're targeting fish this year might be a little different than last, whether that's on the river or on a colder lake or something like that.
So where are the fish going to be up closer to the top where it's a little warmer, or what? I'm not a fisherman, so I'm asking.
Yeah. So it all I guess it depends on the species, but I was talking with one fisherman the other day that found where they found a lot of bass still kind of grouped up in their wintering spot, which is a little deeper spot and whatnot, and they weren't real scattered about like you would when you get warmer temperatures. So depending on the species, they could still be deep. During the day when the sun comes out and warms up, like the shallows, some of the fish are going to go into those warmer areas, different stuff. So kind of just depends on what you're going for.
So any last second tips before we let you take care of your bird here this morning, Jake? Any last second tips for anybody maybe heading out to the waters this weekend for the opener?
Yeah. Nope. The main things would be get a fishing license, and then make sure you check if your boat is registered, because all those expirations are March 31st. Make sure you got your life jackets on your boat. All your boat equipment is all safe and up to date, because we'll check for that. And just, have fun and everything, but make sure you're safe and you got your licenses. Because those are just like, at the beginning of other hunting seasons and stuff. Those are the things people forget about. It's kind of get the licenses, jackets, or it was in winter storage all year, so you got to make sure everything works before you get it out there.
What kind of fines are we talking about for not having enough life jackets or not having the right fishing license?
License for a resident without a fishing license is $220. When you get into the equipment and life jackets, it ranges anywhere from 180 to 340. That's just the basic stuff. Depending on what the violation is, or if you have multiple of them, it can kind of add up pretty quick. And we don't like to, be a hammer by any means, but we do want to make sure people are being safe. So the main, one of the big things we would push every year, and we see it, is like the life jackets or the PFDs. You got to make sure everyone has one wearable life jacket on board, no matter what size boat it is or stuff like that. Canoes, kayaks, all of it. You got to have a wearable life jacket.
Interesting. All right. Good stuff, Jake. Appreciate it as always, buddy. Go take care of that bird and make sure you send us some pictures, though, too. Okay, bud?
Good luck at it, man. It was a good time.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. There you go. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden, joining us here this morning for our outdoor tidbits here. So, there we go.
Make sure your life jackets, prior proper planning prevents paying a lot in fines is what it amounts to.
Mhm.
You got to have a checklist and check it off.
Mm-hmm. I had somebody sent over this question. We were talking a little bit about with the draft earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So like Kansas City, obviously, this past weekend highlighted a lot of their barbecue, right? That was
Yep,
kind of their
yep.
thing. And, Tennessee's dinner. What would Green Bay's thing be? Beer?
Cheese curds.
Cheese probably be the common theme
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Because you got to have something you got to have to like be known for a little bit,
Well,
right?
when I was in, they didn't do it this year, but when I was in Hawaii for the last, few years in January, one of the things I always do right away is go to the Century Tournament of Champions. That's Century Insurance right over here in Wausau.
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, now they might have had them and I missed them. Last year, a year ago in 2022, one of the things they had deep fried cheese curds. And people were eating them hand over fist. I mean, everybody was eating cheese curds and drinking beer. And this year, I didn't see them. Now, that might have been my problem, but I didn't see them like they had them a year ago. They were all over the ground. Now, I don't know whether they had a problem or whether I just missed it or whatnot. But, those deep fried cheese curds that they had at the Century Tournament of Champions, Hawaii, not Hawaiian native food by any means,
Mhm.
but boy, they were popular and they went through a lot of them.
Will we run out of cheese if we do that at the draft?
It'd be a good problem to have, believe me. I don't think we'll run out of cheese, but you can bet that deep fried cheese curds and cheese on a stick and you name it, it's going to be popular food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I gotta look it up, see if they got a date when it's expected to be announced or something. I know they're supposed to do like the schedule coming up on the 11th, I think. Announce finally the schedule coming up here, so
Mhm.
be interesting to see how many primetime games Green Bay gets here this year with no Aaron Rodgers. I will be okay with a bunch of noon Sunday games.
I think a lot of people will because it was hard to watch the Packers last few. You had a 3:00 start, and then you had Thursday night and
Monday night, Sunday
Monday
night,
night,
yeah.
Sunday night, and this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, I don't think the Packers are going to be wanted in prime time. They can always flex a game or two later in the year if Jordan Love's proved to be a more
Or they
than
might do
adequate.
one early just to see Jordan Love, it's first time and sort of thing. But 'cause they did that. But
Yeah.
again, that was the weird one when it was supposed to be, because Rodgers' first start was the first Monday night game
Yeah.
of the season, but that was also supposed to be the retirement ceremony for Favre, and that didn't work out.
No,
So
if the Packers had the Jets on their schedule this year, you can bet that would be a primetime game.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't, so I don't expect to see too many of them. But like you said, maybe one just to highlight the changes in Green Bay.
Mhm.
And if it turns out that they're having a pretty good season, maybe they'll flex a game later in the season.
I think they'll get a Monday night and a Sunday night, and then obviously everybody has to have a Thursday. So
Yeah.
maybe they'll have the Thanksgiving one this year too.
Yeah, who knows?
But,
Yeah.
that should be coming up at the office. I'm going to see if I can find out if they've got any rumors, because I was Googling and like all the betting lines are favoring Green Bay for 2025.
Oh, they are.
Yeah. So
All right. Well, that'd be fun.
fingers crossed we
Yeah.
can do it. So
There's no question they could do it. They could hold it and they could do a nice job with it.
Mhm.
Just a matter of will we get it?
What would be the biggest obstacle you think in Green Bay not being able to hold it? Hotels,
Well,
parking.
Yeah.
How many people are
I
gonna
don't
want-
know the venue.
Yeah.
I don't know what the venue would be if they, you've got to incorporate Lambeau Field into it. I mean, let's face it,
Mhm.
like Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City is nothing special, but Lambeau Field is one of those iconic venues.
I think they would just do that whole 2 blocks or whatever,
Yeah.
Rush Center, all the way down to Titletown District. Draft would be in the Rush Center.
And I think they'd close off Lombardi Avenue from up at 41, or a couple blocks down from 41, all the way down below the stadium. And that's all nothing but walkers.
Right.
No cars, nothing.
Not like Warren's Cran Fest where you can park your car in somebody's yard the whole day, whole weekend or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you'd be
close it
able to
down.
park, out and walk in, because I think it's going to be a lot of pedestrian traffic.
Uber drivers are going to make a killing that weekend.
Well,
probably.
they might, but it's going to be, because there'll be people staying in Appleton and places around Green Bay. They'll be up in Door County, and it'd be nice if the weather would be, if they'd get it in Green Bay, the weather would be nice. Door County is absolutely a spectacular place to see. Anybody in Wisconsin that hasn't been to Door County, shame on you, because it is a very, very beautiful part of the world.
What do you think is the best time to go over there? Door County.
Well, I like to go over in the summertime, in July, the cherry picking and things like that are going on. And, it's a beautiful time. You can be on the water, but fall colors are nice. But I like July. I like the cherry picking time.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break here, and then we're going to wrap things up here. We'll talk a little more baseball with the Brewers, trying to avoid a sweep later on this afternoon. Can they do it with Wade Miley on the hill? We'll discuss.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Looking for a new job, or maybe just tired of boring job fairs when you look? Well, come on out to Careers and Beers at the Brewing Project today from 4 to 6 p.m. This is free to the public, and it's hosted by the stations of Midwest Family Eau Claire. And we'll even buy your first beer while you talk to some of the area's best local employers, all looking to hire you. All this in a low-key atmosphere where everyone's relaxed, looking to have a good conversation and a good time talking about your goals. Stop by today, downtown Eau Claire. It's Careers and Beers, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Brewing Project, downtown Eau Claire.
Suffer a sports injury or know someone who has and you don't know who to turn to? Rely on the experience of the sports medicine team at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. When you experience any sports count on Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine on prompt, proper diagnosis, and customized treatment plans to meet your goals. When it comes to getting back on the field of play, get back on there with the best team in the area. Request an appointment with Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine today by visiting cvosm.com.
She tossed the keys on the kitchen table and sank down on the couch in satisfaction. A sip of wine, and Amanda knew she had a good day. She used her noodle and helped a small business grow. A small business run by a small family with small kids that can go to college one day. That's what Amanda had a hand in. And with a quiet smile on her face, she knows she gets to do that all over again tomorrow. There's something kind of cool about a job where you get to do that. Instead of running around with a briefcase selling people things they don't need, Amanda gets to help small businesses be better businesses. Successful businesses. If that itch to help is in you, you might be the next Amanda, the next person we choose to bring on in our sales and marketing department at Midwest Family Broadcasting. Call Dan and tell him about yourself. 852-2658, 852-2658. Midwest Family Broadcasting. We're an equal opportunity employer.
Planning those cookouts and backyard barbecues, maybe some tailgating at the ball game or weekend trips to the cabin? Well, you're going to need to stock up on the brats and the hamburgers this year, so it sounds like a trip to Mike's Star Market is in your future. So while you're there, grab some Man Cave Light brats and dill pickle with cheese and bacon brats, because sales of those brats go to help backyard dreams. Plus, grab some burgers for the grill while you're at it. Create that epic cookout this year with the best meats in the Chippewa Valley. Head to Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire today.
Reach your financial goals with Royal Credit Union. Whether you're borrowing or saving, Royal is here to help put your goals within reach. When you choose Royal Credit Union, you're getting great rates and a financial partner that you can grow with. From savings and checking accounts to vehicle and home loans, Royal offers the financial solutions you need and the advice you can trust. Learn how Royal Credit Union can help with your financial goals and open your account today at rcu.org/financial goals. Insured by NCUA. Loan subject to credit approval.
Want to stop engine problems before they start? Pick up a can of Seafoam Motor Treatment. Seafoam helps engines start easier, run smoother, and last longer. Just pour it in your fuel tank. Seafoam is available where automotive products are sold.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. We provide a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to determine eligibility. Businesses of all types can qualify, so go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Download the Innovation Refunds app or go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
I'd like to get real with you for a moment. All across the country and even in our town, there are people who have to go without. Perhaps even you, having to go without being able to hear parts of the Dan Kasper Show. It's tragic, but there is help. You can listen to segments from Dan's show and new content on the Man Cave podcast. Check it out for yourself on your favorite podcasting platform.
Be catching up with our good buddy Joe from Cabin Coffee here later on this morning. We're still taking some more nominations. He's got his own, go-to drink at Cabin Coffee, but we need a name for this thing. So we're taking your nominations. We've gotten some good ones so far. You can text them or email me them or Facebook tweet it, whatever floats your boat. So if you want to
I'm
know,
going to call it the right tackle.
right there. I think he played guard, didn't? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you.
Big
See
as
if
he
you know your
is, he
history.
can play anything he wants.
That's good. I'll write that one down. All right. I'll put that one down. So you can send yours on over. In case you don't know, Joe did play for the Badgers back in the day, offensive lineman. So we're having some fun with this one. But we'll catch up with him again later on. Coming up here in a little bit too. So, all right. Let's finish up program here on this Thirsty Thursday. Speaking of thirsty, I could go for a coffee right now. Need a little caffeine kick.
I've never been a coffee drinker. I just never.
Well, they got smoothies and such over there.
Oh,
too,
I know
so,
it. Oh, I know. They got a lot of good things the guy could get, but I've never been a coffee drinker.
Receiver to fur. Has G-Man ever had a coffee, do you think? I know this answer, so I'm asking you.
Has G-Man ever had a coffee?
Yes.
No, he likes beer too much.
G-Man, if you're listening, but I'm pretty sure he's told me he has never had a coffee before. For as wound up and excited as that guy gets.
I can pretty much count on one or two hands how many cups of coffee I've had in my life.
See, I've matured over my years. I used to be all soda, and now I don't even do that anymore. It's all coffee for me.
Yeah, no, I don't like warm drinks.
Oh, really?
I'll drink a hot chocolate made with milk.
Okay.
But I'm not a big fan of hot drinks.
You're picky.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're not the instant packet boil of water hot chocolate?
No.
Not even a hot cider?
I'll put milk in the microwave, and then I'll dump maybe some of that chocolate
Swiss
powder in
Miss?
there. Yeah, Swiss Miss, that sort of stuff.
Not a hot cider guy?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
I can drink it, and I have drank it, but, I'm not, my mother used to love Tom and Jerry's, and I've never been a big fan of a Tom and Jerry, but to each their own.
Yeah, interesting. All right. So, we could go on a whole tangent right there, but I don't want to think about like hot chocolate or anything like that because it's summer, right? We want the cooler drinks sitting on the deck, sitting on the patio sort of thing.
Absolutely.
So finally, maybe we're going to get that on a consistent basis here. I got to get out to the golf course. I have not hit the golf course yet this year.
No, I haven't got my
bugging
clubs.
me.
I see the clubs in the basement, but I haven't gotten them out. And one of these days, hopefully, run out and hit a few balls.
The closest I did was the putting challenge that we did at IV with Carpet City. So, got to get out there. We've gotten T-ball already underway and all that stuff. So I hopefully find some time to.
When's the Open this year?
The Open, as in
Dan Kasper Open.
Oh, the Casper August 4th.
Okay.
August 4th. I'll tease it. We got some registration news coming up here very soon. So if you want to get your teams in, more info coming up. G-Man is listening. Never had a coffee or a cigarette, and I've never had a cavity. I've never had a cavity either.
Really?
I've never had a cavity in my
Good
life.
for you.
Nope, never had one.
Now,
Like-
are you the age where now when you get to be a little kid, they cover your teeth with something so cavities can't get in there?
So I'm not of that, but Hudson is because he's got a couple of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's had a couple cavities and they've had to do some things on there. He actually lost his first tooth last night.
Oh, good. Tooth
Well, now
fairy-
a dentist didn't pull out, so
the tooth fairy going to show up?
already did. Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Yep.
How much of a benefactor is the tooth fairy nowadays?
Inflation is a you know what.
We used to get a nickel.
I know. I
and then
used to
got
get like a quarter.
Yeah.
But it was
now it's green and folds.
This kid though is he's a picky eater, and I get it. It's a phase in that. I've gone to lengths of offering that kid $1,000 to take a bite of a hot dog and nothing.
He won't eat a hot dog?
No.
Wow.
Burger? No.
What
Won't
does
take a
he
bite.
eat?
Chicken nuggets, cheese pizza, mac and cheese, and fries.
Really?
For like main meal sort of thing. But he eat corn on the cob. That's the only vegetable.
Huh. Yeah, every kid is different.
And he'll eat cheese slices. He likes cheese.
Good.
Cheese
good.
curds and all
But he
that.
won't eat
but-
a hot dog.
No.
Huh. What does he do when you take him to the ball
Well,
game?
he will grow out of this. He will grow out of this. But yeah, that's his tradition that he's got after T-ball games is nachos and a slushie. That's what he's got to have after every T-ball game now. So
Well, that's nothing wrong with that.
Nope. Do they still do, like, I remember when I was done with Little League in Medford, we had an ice cream shop called Lickety Split back in the day.
Mhm.
It's not there anymore, but like that was like everybody. That was like a thing when we were kids. It's always like, do they still do that for kids? Like,
Depends on where your
Yeah.
field is located. You know, I remember when we were kids and we played Little League field. Right next door was a grocery store, and they had a soda fountain, and we'd all go in there and get slushies after the games, and then we'd come out and maybe watch the next game after ours or whatever. But yeah, those are great traditions.
I remember, yeah, it was like always going to Lickety Split, getting an ice cream and all that. And but maybe it's a smaller town thing too. I don't, because everybody was there.
A lot of the fields like around here, they'll have their own refreshment stands.
Right, yeah.
And so you go to the refreshment stand, but can't imagine a young kid like that not eating a hot dog.
Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on it. I did trick him one time. I think he was 1 or 2. And like it's something about meat, but yet he'll have chicken nuggets. I did trick him one time he must have been just over 1 or 2. Said, here's a cookie. It was actually a piece of venison. But he
Oh.
thought it was a cookie. And
Yeah.
he took it, he liked it.
Yeah, there
You know, but I can't get him to do that anymore.
No,
But it was a little tenderloin steak, venison.
Oh boy, yeah, you gotta like that.
Yeah, and he used to eat meatballs too, but now
Huh.
I don't know what that kid is, but it'll hopefully grow out.
Yeah, most of them do.
Mm-hmm.
They'll figure out.
Yep. Otherwise, it's all the sweets and salty stuff.
Yeah, and that you never take it from one. Who knows? You never outgrow your taste for sweets and salt.
Brewers 210 today. Wade Miley on the mound. They get that W. I'm picking a W. I'll pick a win.
Yeah, you can't get swept in Colorado. You got to get some hits. You got to score some runs. You're in Colorado, for goodness sakes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the most surprising thing to me out of this series, I think, is, down 2-0 and that, but to not be able to put up some runs in Colorado.
Yeah, that's the
come on,
frustrating thing. And I don't know what the problem is. I don't know. I just
The whole left-handed pitching thing,
They're still well above 500. They're having a pretty nice season, but you don't want to see them go into one of these funks where they're going to lose, 10 of 15 games. You don't want to see that.
Yep.
And this is where I'm waiting for Yelich to step up. I mean, I like Christian Yelich, but I'm kind of disappointed he's not more of a leader on this team. At least he doesn't seem like it from the outside looking in. Now, maybe in the clubhouse he is. I don't know. But you watch him in the dugout, and he doesn't seem like he gets the rest of the guys engaged. Everybody's got their own personality, and maybe he's got the personality that he's not a leader. But if he's not going to be a leader vocally in the clubhouse, he's got to be a leader on the field. He's got to hit better. I mean, he plays wonderful in the outfield. He made a great catch on Saturday night, and he's got to be better as a leader on the field. His offensive productivity has to get better. Otherwise, he's got something wrong with him that they're not telling us. I don't know whether it's a bad back or bad shoulder, bad ankle, bad knee. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still that knee thing that I don't know. The timing of the correlation of everything with that knee injury that he had. So
yeah, and I just and it's still earlier in the season, but I thought he would have a great breakout season again this year because he got a lot of rest last year. He had a long off season, and I thought he'd be coming in gangbusters. And so far, it hasn't happened. I've not given up by any means, but I'm hoping that he steps it up because he's got to be the leader of this team now. Lorenzo Kane is gone, and Moustakis is gone and has been gone for a couple of years. I think Yelich has to be the man.
All right, you have a good one there, intern.
We'll do our best.
The rest of you also have a good one. We'll be back at it for one more time tomorrow for the week. Just past
Derby
6
on Saturday afternoon.
That's right. Get your hats ready. You got a hat?
No.
Well, good. We're going to get you one.
You're listening to the Dan Patrick Show on